girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. 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 It's all about humanity.
girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their girls with their nails done now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard once again. We are back for another beautiful day. This is going to be Free Max Asia Cup presented by Lidoma India. My name is Rita. Along with me is going to be my co-partner, my co-host, co-caster. Name is Aimgod. Welcome everyone on the list.
Well, thank you so much, Raider, for this beautiful intro. And आज के एशिया कप में जो हमारा पहला मैच है वो जरूर से हमें शुरू होता हुआ देखने को मिलने वाला है. And as per the first match, we can see that the players have already taken the drops as per the playing path, and we can also see that the team H2G has a cleared drop, and according to the blue zone, there's no one in the blue zone as well, and they can get an easy loot as well.
Well, definitely loot and the, let's say, utilities are something which is going to be quite crucial for these guys. Eventually, if you have the right kind of utility, you can pull through a lot of punches. And that could be quite amazing to watch out. But right now, in the factory region, well, we have got this particular team known as AV. We have got Tanamo, we have got Red Hots, and along with that, we have got Ryan and Brindle. Well, of course, a shot comes in, a beautiful takedown coming from AV Tanamo's corner.
Well, not to forget, and also we can see that the UAV has been deployed, and we can also see the first elimination coming out right here. The safe zone will be appearing in a second, and since the first zone has been appeared, now the players have to get inside the safe zone. As once the shrinking starts, the players won't have any choice left. 36 players are alive still now, and we can see two deaths happening already. Team AV have lost two players, and they're down to the last two players. Let's see whatever happens and how they are going to survive the area, how they are going to survive this particular scenario that they are stuck into.
It's going to be quite crucial to watch out at how the fights are going to be there. But right now, at this moment, if I talk about the Cape Town region, it is quite a beautiful region. As we all know, this is the capital of South Africa. The buildings are also similar to the original in Africa, I believe. And on the other corner, if I talk about mainly shotguns and some machine guns can be found here. So obviously, a right kind of utility, a right kind of loot is going to be there. Eventually, if the people want to be there in the close combats or eventually wield SMGs, they can easily go to the Cape Town region where you actually get a huge amount of loot. If I talk about this particular team, that is Ft.Av, they are actually looting Katilut Siva. And in this space, I guess we are going to get more and more utilities coming up soon enough. We have got Bailey, we have got 13, and along with him, we have got Kaiso. These are the three members who are playing. I guess manpower is something which is going to be lagged from Veta's corner.
Well, for sure, and as per the current scenario, the safe zone will be shrinking in 14 seconds, and this is a crucial time for the teams as they have to get inside the first zone. Since if they miss out the first zone, they'll miss out on a very great opportunities that they might have created if they would have got into the zone on time. And as we can see the warning, the safe zone is shrinking right now. We can see team ORB already losing two players and down to only two men. Now, as per the current scenario, the players have already been stuck into a fight, and we have also seen eliminations happening. Now we can see a knock, brilliant knock, I would say, on the Durant coming up. And from this point, we can totally say that Team FX is not at all in an easy position. They are at such a position that they might get eliminated at any time because they are only down to one man, and I don't think that one man can survive very long.
Well, of course, as we know in Free Fire, we are going to get the recall feature as well. So eventually, that one man can become the squad, can actually bring back his three teammates. But that definitely is going to take some tolls because you have to have 12 tokens so that you can eventually resort your three teammates. But that is going to be quite crucial. He has to load the tokens. Apart from that, he has to find the right vending machine where he can just actually resort his teammates. So that is definitely going to be quite chaotic for him. But meanwhile, if I talk about the factory region, we have still got FNO trying to loot it up and eventually gather some good utilities.
Well, for sure, FNO will surely leave the factory region with good loot, and as per the current scenario, we can see that the zone has taken a central shift and the danger area is also on the centralmost area. We can see that it is affecting a particular area of Bhima Sakti strip as well, and as per we know, Peak and Bhima Sakti strip are the two major hot drops, I would say, where we can see teams fighting for the final zones, I would say, because maximum times we can see that the final zones are happening or the final zones are being created in those particular two areas.
Well, definitely, I guess being in those two particular areas is going to be quite chaotic. But apart from that, let's talk about the teams trying to rotate. We've got S2G, which is trying to rotate. We have got 4BS, Insane, ZZ, and apart from that, Batman is also there right now. So yes, of course, we have got the World's Buzz Detective coming up. Let's see how these teams are going to perform. Remember, guys, this is the Philippines qualifier. And apart from that, we have 8 more countries taking a part in this Asia Cup in the game of Free Fire Max. And eventually, these 8 other countries are going to show their own kind of talent. Eventually, if I talk about the Indian qualifiers, it was quite chaotic. Pakistani qualifier, things were looking a bit more crazy. But if I talk about the Nepal qualifiers and Bangladesh as well, they were quite an interesting instance coming up. But furthermore, if I talk about this rain, eventually about this particular tournament, the prize pool is going to be of plus $6,000. So obviously, a lot of things are going to be at stake.
Well, since a lot of things are at stake, the people playing this game won't want to lose it at all, because we can see that the safe zone has again, I would say, the second zone has started shrinking, and as per the current zone scenario, we can see that the players are already at different positions, and as per the Mars Electric, we can see that one team trying to rotate out, or I would say trying to get a direct entry inside the zone, since the zone is actually damaging a lot, and we can also see a knockoff coming up, and Team RSX, they have a way clear out into the zone, but do they have the enough utilities to get inside the zone? Because zone is the mutual enemy of everyone. It will hit everyone and each and everyone at every point.
vertical zone and the circle is something which is obviously going to be one of those things which you have to pay your respects to. If you don't pay the respect
For
to the
sure.
play zone, it is actually going to punch you as hard as it can be. And as far as the play zone is going to be concerned, a lot of teams are actually, let's say, on the edge or a little bit outside the particular play zone. But right now, that could be one of those meta that let the teams which are in the center take up a fight, and eventually, when the lobby is going to get clear away, we are going to push into the play zone. But that can actually come as a con as well. There is a disadvantage of that kind of strategy, and that disadvantage is that the teams in the center can easily go ahead and gatekeep you as well when you are trying to be in the zone. So that situation can be very tricky to deal with. But right now, we have got this particular team trying to loot, and apart from that, they are also maintaining their own, let's say, parameters that nobody actually cross that and eventually be a little bit more close with them. This is Team PH. We've got Voidface and Caldi in the scene. Only two members coming from this particular team. Well, that manpower, that shortage of manpower is for sure going to punch them up a bit.
Well, for sure, as I said, that once you lose your men, you can regain them or you can recall them if you have enough tokens. But as of if you don't have your men joining the game, then you're already in a lack of advantages, and that will punch you harder than your opponents, as you said. But for now, we can see Team Q are down to 3 men, are already rushing on to their areas where they can find or seek shelter. I would say. But on the other hand, we can see that the players near them are not at all in the mood to let them get inside. And since this, we can see a great fight actually happening. One player is being eliminated, one more knockdown we can see right there. One player is reviving the teammates. Let's see what's going to happen.
Well, of course, they are looting the crates. Really have the cherish from the particular crates is going to help them a lot in terms of the upcoming fights as well. If we talk about more and more fights coming up, as you all can see, the lobby is getting full with the bloodlust, and eventually a lot of bloodshed is actually there. And look at that, a beautiful knockout coming from S2G's corner. Two good members from S2G has been taken down. Now JZ being the last one standing, he wants to be as far as away it is possible from the particular fight so that he can res out his lost teammates and eventually be back in the game as well. Well, it is going to be quite critical for them to survive, but if we talk about this particular team, the lack of manpower is getting flourished. And apart from that, they're just trying to be as safe as they can. Actually, they're trying to just be in a single or let's say dual coupon so that nobody sets their eye on upon them. But that can be very very critical once actually a squad spots you and eventually can be taken down. But look at that, some blue walls has been appointed. A lot of shots are coming up, but eventually those blue walls are becoming the cover, and which is helping the enemy to just survive a little bit more. But still, the shots are coming as well. Chrono Shields was appointed, but eventually, if we talk about Tree Tooks, he is actually trying his best to push in and eventually gain those knockouts. Can it be a possible scenario? We'll be looking forward to it. And yes, of course, the knockout was delivered, and with that beautiful gun, he was able to, with that, let's say, M2B2, he was able to gain some good points. And apart from that, Caitlyn Pistol is helping his teammate to just regain the health.
Well, for sure, and down to 21 men, 29 men. My bad. We can see that deploying the glue wall on point and getting the proper Chronos shield cover can lead you to great advantages, as we saw right now. And as per the current scenario, we can see the men are landing right now on the top. And we can also see that RSX is back again to 2-man. And for the present scenario, we can see that Team AD is at a current position where they are pretty much strong enough than any other team on that particular area, because they saw a man that took him down and they made the disadvantage on other team, which makes them inevitable for the moment. But for the current scenario, they are getting up, healed up, getting the areas deployed. But you can see that the enemies are also in the way of success for Team AD. Since we saw that 3 people got recalled, we have 32 players again. The fourth zone will be shrinking in 1 minute, and then we can see that the main fights, or I would say the main whatever you can say, will be happening soon.
Well, the main carnage is about to happen, but apart from that, the revival of these three teammates were not actually, let's say, like a fruitful scenario, because now Vine is actually going to be the last man standing, and revival is something which is going to be out of hand because the team is just in front of him. He won't be able to get that gap. But apart from that, as you can see, one more beautiful knockout coming from RSX corner. Kaisi has been taken down. Faces have already been taken down. Calibre was out of the equation. Now Phoenix is the last man standing. He might be actually going outside the particular play zone so that he can res out his teammate. But apart from that, if we talk about Team Beta, well, they are actually quite, let's say, quite dominant at this moment, quite dormant as well. But the thing which is going to catch them on the back is going to be their lack of finishes, because you have to have some good finishes. Apart from that, even if you get a booyah, that is not going to help you a lot in terms of leaderboard if you don't have the right kind of finishes. Let's say getting close to 5 to 10 finishes in every single match is going to be quite cherish full joy. But on the other corner, if we talk about the Booyah points, even if you get the Booyah, you are going to get only 12 points, which is not going to be that much in terms of the leaderboard, because there are quite a few teams which are very much aggressive, which are actually gaining some good points in terms of their aggression, in terms of the finish point. As far as the finish points are actually holding up, QRV is actually coming up with some good blows. As you can see, Zazli is the guy who is just holding that woodpecker, or should I say ABCD, in his hand and trying to dominate onto the enemy.
Well, for sure. And as you said, that the particular mixture or the particular amount of position points and kill points or finish points leads us to a great, or I would say to an upper position in the leaderboard, is what we are expecting from other teams as well right now. But the higher ground advantage which we can see is what Team ORV is going to help them a lot. Team FX couldn't revive their two teammates right now, but Agila and Cheers can be seen right now fighting for their lives. And on the other hand, if we talk about Team QR is again back over, man, and we can see that the fights are being happening right now. They deployed a Chronos shield, but couldn't help them more than that. Just got a knockoff and finished off again.
Indeed, that guy was trying his level best to survive a bit, but eventually those shotgun shots are not going to help him a lot. Just like that, he was taken down. On the other one, let's talk about Zoe. He is also about to go down because on the HP that he is actually living up to.
Quadra
But
kill.
then again, with those beautiful shots with, of M187, he was able to dominate and he was able to put a beautiful knockout, and that actually is going to put a smile on his face. And apart from that, he's going to cherish those amazing two finishes. Apart from that, let's talk about the members which are still surviving. That is going to be QRs. If I'm not wrong, this guy is going to be Shank. He's trying his level best to survive. Treatment pistol is in hand, but he won't be able to just patch himself. He has to use his own first aid kits. Apart from that, his team is actually together. So I guess the manpower, the synergy, the cover is going to be for sure there.
Well, for sure, and Team WL can also be seen at a dominant position, but they have to regain the areas of zone right now, because as per the current scenario, we can see that they have a lot of cluster around them, and this cluster will for sure not let them an easy entry inside the zone. This will obviously cause them a lot of damage as well, and it might cause them the loss of manpower as well, because the zone is already very far from them, and we can see that Paul has been knocked down. He must be revived soon, or else the enemies will be pushing very soon.
Well, definitely, if you are lacking the manpower, if a player is actually getting logged out, it is actually going to be an advantage for the enemy as well. So yes, you have to get back your teammate in the game as soon as it is possible. On the other corner, let's talk about more and more fights. As well, you can see some shots have been exchanged from WL's Invoker's corner. Disappointed, but apart from that, shots coming up. Oh, a beautiful takedown was again comes in from PH's corner. If I'm not wrong, that was interesting. Okay, if we talk about S2G, we've got 4BS, Jay-Z, and Batman still living up to the charm. Insane has been taken down, but I guess his lack is going to let's just say backstab the particular team. But as well, on the other corner, to talk about the number of survivals, 12 players are surviving. Okay, so that's that. We have 11 players surviving. Once again, we have got one more back in the game. Now shots are being exchanged from the corner of Jay-Z.
Well, for sure, and the safe zone is again shrinking now. The teams have to be very focused at the particular moment, because for now, even one casualty might lead up to the complete vanishment. We can see 11 players are again down right now. 11 players are down to the final zone right now. I would say the nades will be on point, but won't take any damage. They have a player near them. AimJ can be seen here. H2G has taken a brilliant knock, and they can create a brilliant space around them, which will help them get the victory very soon.
Well, indeed, getting that victory is something that is actually going to be the end game for these particular teams, and that's what they are actually living up to. As we can see, just 7 people are surviving, out of which, if we talk about this particular team, Team QR is surviving quite brilliantly. They are having the 4-man power. The frontline team is going to face a lot of difficulty because they are actually facing fully recouped, fully jacked up team, which has got the confidence, which have got the kind of, let's say, taste of the blood. They have actually attained 6 amazing kills, and I believe now they are going to be far more aggressive. But then again, one wrong step can easily turn the tides.
Well, for sure, one wrong step and you're out of the game. Well, for now, we can see 5 players are remaining only. Ego has only 1 player remaining, and Team QR takes a booyah very beautifully, getting them into the final zone and taking a brilliant booyah. Very well played, Team QR.
Well, indeed, the performance coming from QR's corner was absolutely amazing. I guess that is QRV Tyrants. The way they performed was absolutely amazing. But coming apart, if we talk about teams like AV Radicals or Hard to Get, they were also trying their level best to survive a bit. Eventually, in the last few zones, they tried their level best to survive, but eventually, I guess some manpower and the synergy coming from QRs, or should I say Tyrants, QRV Tyrants corner was absolutely amazing. The way they were actually able to give the backup to the teammates, eventually rest them back and forth in the game, the kind of aggression they were upholding was absolutely amazing. And somehow, I guess somewhere around 20 plus points is something which is going to get cherished from their corner. And this is the Philippines qualifier. You all know that after the qualifier gets over, only the top three teams are going to face off for the next phase. And that can be very critical because we know the bragging rights of winning Asia Cup is going to be there at SAC. Eventually, the fans and their, let's say, belief in you is also going to be at stake. And apart from that, one more thing is going to be quite crucial, and that is going to be the prize pool of plus $6,000.
Well, $6,000 is not at all a small amount. It is a very huge amount, and also the bragging rights of being the Asia Cup champions is not at all something that you would not boast about. It is something that you will, I would say, try hard to earn. And we can also see that the players are trying their level best. We saw that QR was down to only 3 men in the starting, but they didn't give up. They tried their level best, and finally they got the booyah in their hands.
And a beautiful one, no doubt on that. With level of finishes they have actually gained, they are actually going to make a significant impact in the leaderboard as well. But now it comes to consistency. It all falls to the consistency. If they are not consistent in terms of the gameplay, that is going to be quite critical because Booyah is
For
something
sure.
which is not going to be blessed every single time to a single team. There are
Very
actually
true.
going to be rest remaining 11 teams which are going to perform equally well, and maybe they are going to cut short their, let's say, the chase, or should I say, the buffer that they've actually maintained right now. QRB Tyrant has to maintain their lead. Eventually, the pressure is going to be immense on the teams which are at the top, like let's say QRV or S2G or AV Assassins. Eventually, these are the teams which are going to be in the top 3, top 4 placements. They have to be quite critically, let's say, acclaimed, and eventually they have to attain some good points so that they can be on the top. The teams which are the middle are going to face off some other kind of pressure. But before that, let's talk about the match number 2, which is going to be here in front of our screens. That is going to be the map of Purgatory, which we all know as the map of the island, which is absolutely going to be an amazing one. A lot of let's say fruitful places are there where teams can actually come up with some huge fights.
Well, obviously, and the tussle of zone shifting from one island to the other is something that will be worth watching. Well, let's see what's going to happen in this map of 3 islands. Well, I'll be very excited to look at that. I'll be very excited to see what actually happens at the Purgatory map, because you also know, Raider, that the Purgatory map is also considered as one of the classics after Bermuda, which is one of the most played maps as well.
Yeah, indeed, and it is actually one of those maps where you can actually get an advantage. But apart from that, I guess as a caster, I would love to see the zone-like situation coming up. And if I'm not wrong, I guess we are going to witness match standing as well very, very soon. If it comes to a screen, it will be very, very amazing to see. But right now, guys, we are going to start the match in just 30 seconds, and you are going to witness the carnage. The flight path will start. It is going to actually take us from east or west or north to west, whatever the direction is going to be there. But eventually, one thing I'm pretty sure about is going to be the carnage. Is going to be the consistency about these teams at a question. Let's see what happens.
Well, I'm also very excited to witness what happens right now, because you also know that the Purgatory map is full of ups and downs. The teams have to face a lot to get to the final zone, and we also know the hardships of the zone. The hardships of this map. This map particularly contains a terrain and a mixture of some kind of greenery and households and all, which gives a particular challenge that is pretty unbeatable. But our players, hats off to them. They will never, ever give up. And I'm for sure they'll give us a great show.
Yes, of course, the show is going to be there because at this moment, as you can see, the flight path is starting from the western corner. It is going to the eastern corner. It starts from the Marble region and it is going towards Sky Lodge and eventually Forge. So yeah, it will be quite interesting because it is actually dissecting the map in two halves, and which will actually help these teams to go wherever they want to go and whatever place they want to choose. Apart from that, if we talk about Team Beta, once again they have got team and power. I guess this team don't want to actually play a spot. They want to play a trio for this tournament, but eventually let's see what happens eventually. If this kind of trio placement is going to help them or not, that is something which is going to be a question. AXT, we have got Kanto, Booty Boy, Goto Boy, and Foreigner is there, Chessman is there. Remember, guys, this is Philippines qualifiers, so yes, the names are something which is going to be a little bit shaky for us, but then again, the performance is something which is going to be quite unforgettable.
Well, for sure, and I'm very excited to see the performances right now. As we can see, that the teams have already taken their drops, and since they are in their drops, they are also going to be clashes as well. We have seen a beautiful knock. One more knock could have come, but Thompson wouldn't work for 1 versus 2. There's going to be one knock, and one person is already low on HP. AXT has lost 2 players down on the knees. AXT is down to 2 players only. Let's see if they will be able to revive their players or rescue their players. Let's take a look at it.
Indeed, eventually, if the revival is possible, that's great. But if the revival is not possible, they should actually fall back and eventually go back for the revival. They are actually fighting a long way battle, and they're very near to this area, particularly Quarry, which is known as one of those beautiful places where the fight can actually succumb to. That's what is actually happening. If I talk about Ft.Av, he is trying to flank from the right angle. That could be quite crucial. This flank can actually help him a lot.
Well, for sure, as we can see that the flank is actually helping him a lot, but the Chronos shield has already taken up the damage and is not going to affect upon the other player on the other side. We had started with 46, but we are down to 38. Let's see if all the players will be recalled, or if we can see that some squads getting eliminated. Team ORV getting a particular area for looting, and a very great area, I would say, for looting. But on the other hand, if I talk about Team FX, Team FX is in an open ground and they have a very open area. And since you saw the flank of Team FX, we know Team FX can give brilliant flanks and can get a lot of number of kills, as we saw last match. But the placement points, their positioning, is something that they have to work upon.
Well, definitely, eventually, guys, you have to work on where you are landing and how you are actually performing in those spots. If we talk about Team FX, well, they are trying to flank as well. They are trying to gain some good points eventually in these regions. Well, they know that the enemy is there because they have spotted the glue walls. And eventually, well, there we go. The attack is there. A beautiful throwable was used, and eventually with that, damage was there. But right now, we talk about Aguila. He's also trying to push forward. Let's see how much more of energy he's actually going to build through. Another spot actually comes in. Chronos Shield was actually appointed, but apart from that, they're unable to get any kind of facts into their consideration. But very soon, I believe the situation is about to change. Either, okay, there is a knockout. So, of course, this is going to be the first of those kills. But apart from that, the treatment person has been used up so that they can actually get the teammates back in the game.
Well, for sure, the treatment gun works particularly on point, and since we saw that the players have already got a vast area in the region in the containment, they will for sure be looking forward for more number of finishes, and now they can actually get a booyah. What I think, but what do you think about it, Ada? What do you think? Where is the zone going to be?
Well, currently it is going to be a bit harsh for me to predict to be precise. So I won't be able to predict. I guess it is going to be fairly central one. Let's see what happens. If it goes to central regions, I guess that can be very, let's say like a blessing for these particular teams. But eventually, if the play zone is actually going to be on the banks of some kind of river, that can be very amazing to watch because the brawl is going to be surreal. But I guess for these teams, it will be very critical to just cross over, even if they actually go ahead for the bridges or the grappling hooks.
Well, for sure, and as you can see that Scar can be used against teammates, and we also know that Scar has a high damage and a high fire rate, which actually helps people to get more damage compared to other guns. And Team QR, the team that took Booyah last match, is already losing a player right now. Shanks has played a very important role in the last match, and we will not want to see him down on the knees for a longer period of time, as that will obviously create a ruckus in the whole scenario.
Let's see what eventually happens. But apart from that, we have got the shots coming up. And if I talk about MP40 to be precise, this is another beautiful gun which has, let's say, a slightly higher amount of damage. But apart from that, he's unable to convert those facts into his consideration because right now he's empty-handed. 0 kills for him. I believe he will be able to gain some good points. Let's see, is it going to be a possibility or not? Because Roy himself is trying his best to gain some good points. You guys know that this is the team particularly which was able to gain a last booyah, 20%. But in this one, is it going to be a not that to watch? But here we go, beautiful knockout comes from Paz himself. He's going to finally finish him off. But apart from them, I believe the whole team is about to go down.
Well, Nyan can be seen that he's already into the heal battle scenario, and we can see there's a safe zone has also started shrinking now, which means that the teams have to move very fast. If they make even a slightest of mistake, they might lose the chance to the booyah. But Team H2G, Team Hard to Get, starting has already started to try hard for themselves. As of now, they are on the edges, but if they don't approach the center very soon, I don't think that they might be were in the, up in the top 5 of points table.
Well, definitely being in the top 5 is going to be quite crucial, but apart from that, being in the top 3 is going to be the end game because you want to qualify for the next one. You want to see other region teams also trying to compete with you. We want to see teams coming from India, Pakistan, Nepal, or many other regions where FIFA Max is actually going to put their tournament of the Asia Cup. We want to see those top 3 teams, those teams which are representing their own, let's say, specific region or of like, let's say, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, whatever the regions are actually there. So that will be very, very amazing to watch out that how these teams representing their nation are going to perform.
Well, how the teams turn out to be is going to be very delightful to watch for now. But at the moment, we can see Team Vita getting a particular area or a particular northern entry inside the zone, and the danger zone has taken a pretty hard shift, or I would say taken a pretty harsh route on the players, as the danger zone is on an area where we had seen the center of previous zone, which means that the players trying to acquire the center are now in the danger zone, which means that they have to face the bombings or they have to move inside or outside of the danger zone very soon.
Well, definitely it's going to be quite crucial. But right now, if we talk about Team Ego, a little bit outside the particular play zone, they have to be in the zone. They are on the edges. Few members of Team Ego are already in the zone. They are already crossing the bridges, and these are the most vulnerable part of this particular map. You can easily be tagged out on the bridges, or you can easily tag out some other team on the bridges because it gives you the higher height advantage. Apart from that, you are also going to be very, very visible to the enemies, and that those third parties can be very crucial. Well, if we talk about Team FX, Kosu, Aguila, Shares, and 2 Easy are the 4 members which are going to constitute this particular team. But right now, they're looking a little bit, let's say, on the shaky end. But still, if we talk about this guy, Aguila, 3 amazing kills in this corner, Shares with 1 amazing kill. And if we talk about 2 Easy, 2 amazing kills that I already constitute. So 6 frags, that's interesting. I want to see what Gozu is doing, how many frags he has actually implemented, so that we can actually come up with the total number of kills that they have actually attained. This team particularly is going to be on the aggressive end, I believe, because the number of frags they have actually attained is already looking quite impressive.
Well, for sure, they have pretty great number of kills, and right now they're also aiming at getting more of them. We can see Team FNOK getting a vehicle and also healing up, taking their teammates into the zone. But will he be successful in doing so? As the danger zone, as the zone, blue zone, I would say, is already approaching for the next shift, and now it has started doubling the damage as well. But on the other hand, if you see, the UAV has been deployed, which means that the positions will be revealed very soon, and the teams taking a southern entry are in the safer hands for now. But don't forget about Team AV. Team AV, as we can see, are on a very, I would say, back foot position, because they are not at all right now focusing on kills. The ones that they had in their path, they cleared them, and for now they are already taking their foot backwards, trying to play on the safer edge, trying to get the zone first and then the kills.
Well, definitely it's going to be quite interesting to watch out that how the whole situation actually gets them the blows. But right now, if I'm not wrong, Team FMO is also trying to get some good points. If I talk about Team Go, barely holding up to the play zones, because as soon as they actually reach out the play zone that they were chasing, another play zone comes in. If I talk about Team Ego, as well, can see Maias, to be precise, has been taken down. MJ is actually there. Pita is there. Oh, well, Pita is no more going to survive, I believe, because Guy has been taken down. Eventually, I guess the recovery is something that is going to get him. Apart from that, some more shots have been exchanged. Both of them has actually a shield, but the shield helped the enemy apart from him.
Well, this shouldn't have been the case if he would have been inside the Chronos Shield. But we also know that the bullets don't cross the Chronos Shield this easily. The glue wall has been deployed on point. Team ORV is on an aggressive front, can be seen on an aggressive front. And according to the zone, if we have 21 players, we can see 21 players alive. It means that the match is already taking twists and turns towards the aggressive. And we can see that the players are already taking over one-on-one. And Team ORV clearing up a squad within no time. Like, how can you do this?
well, being aggressive, apart from that, being one of those teams which have got the manpower, which have got the right kind of synergy from each and every single guy in the team, that is something which is going to help them a lot. If I talk about Bozo, this guy is not looking that great. Zero amount of frags into his perspective. He was trying to rotate, his vehicle is in flames. But right now, Khan 98 K1 is actually something which he's going to use. One good shot can easily land him apart, and that's what he did. Bozo was able to take one off from the equation.
Wow.
But right now, can he gain those strikes? Yes, of course he did. These Khan 98 shots were very, very critical, and right now he proves his worth in the game.
Well, for sure he does, and the zone takes a very crucial shift. But talking about Avila, he has already taken up a greater area of the zone, which means that he has already taken up the bridges, and from where the teams were about to become. And for now, if we can see that Team FX has already taken up a area inside the zone, which is 250 meters, but since they have an area cleared up, they can get frags as well. The northern entries are right now going to be from Team H2G. They have been seen on, I would say, a non-aggressive stance, but since they have seen the players, they are not going to. Oh my! This left me speechless, Raider. This legit left me speechless.
Well, he was trying to rotate from one glue wall to another one, but all of a sudden a shot comes in, and just like that, he was down to his knees. Well, that is actually one of those surprising moments where you don't have anything to do. You can't actually do anything, and that is actually one of those disgusting moments as an esports athlete that you want to perform, but eventually one good shot landed you out, and you didn't even had a fair chance to reciprocate that fight. But eventually, this is what happens when the enemy is holding up F4 or guns like 98K.
Well, H2G, I won't forgive you. I was trying to explain the whole scenario to my audience and you didn't let me do that. But hats off. Wow, what a brilliant gameplay. And we can see that Team AV Tanamo can be seen dropping right now, which means that he's back into the game. Once he's back into the game, the team will be back on all fours. And once the team is back on all fours, they will be trying to get ahead of everyone. They have already gained the, I would say, higher ground advantage, and Remy can be seen struggling for his life, going inside the zone, but FX is not letting him do that.
See, indeed, he is back in the game, but eventually, one thing which is going to be quite crucial is the lack of gun and the utilities. That's what happened to this
Well, very
particular
true.
team. They have already actually getting shattered. But I'm actually surprised to see this particular team because they had the three-man power. Well, I believe this team surviving is something which is going to be quite crucial for this particular team because they're unable to take any kind of facts into his perspective. So that's interesting, the way they are actually surviving. If we talk about Team J, now a team which was quite aggressive has actually falling short in terms of their manpower, and now they're going to just lurk in the shadows and trying to survive a bit more. But right now, he can be becoming a center of attraction. He can easily be spotted while he is rotating.
Well, he can be, and since being the last man, he's very easy to take down for now. But Team FX is down to 2 men, and the player number is down to 10. We can see that the glue walls have been deployed on point, and the Chronos shield is going to help them a lot. But the grenades are pretty on point, which means that the players have to get inside the zone very soon, or else the ruckus that is created near them will leave them empty-handed. And one player getting down is not a good news that Team FX would expect. And now Team FX got eliminated within a fraction of a second.
This is what happened. You snooze, you lose. That is what is actually going to happen for that particular team. Apart from that, if we talk about Team Head to Gaming, well, this team is actually performing very well. They are getting good points, no doubt about that. But then again, manpower and outside the play zone is something that they're actually living up to. But with the throws who has been appointed, they won't be able to surpass to the particular play zone. While he was rotating, his teammate was actually, his enemy was also trying to rotate at the size, but look at that cluster coming
Wow.
out. Still he manages to get one amazing shot into his perspective, and just like that, S2G gets a beautiful booyah in their consideration.
Well, if you remember, Ada, we were talking about Team H2G that they are trying hard and they are not getting any booyahs, but they proved us wrong. They proved us wrong pretty quick, pretty swiftly, I would say. They got the booyah in next match as well, and they got a good number of finishes, if I suppose. What do you think, Rada, about the whole match?
Well, the match was quite swift. The match was quite amazing to be precise. But then again, the way this team particularly performed was out of blue. Let's say I was surprised to see S2G still surviving. The name is hard to get, and eventually, I guess they are living up to the charm.
Very true. They are living up to their name, and the team is actually pretty hard to get. And the last 1v2 left me awestruck. That was pretty beautiful. Getting inside the zone and getting that knockoffs by headshot is not at all easy. Being a player, we also know that these games, these mobile games, are not at all easy to play. You have to rotate a whole device and thing, but these players are doing it pretty swiftly, pretty beautifully, and I have become a fan of the game.
Well, for sure, these players are performing exceptionally well, and eventually the way they are getting some good points is absolutely amazing. But still, we have a long way to go. I believe minimum 4 to 5 matches are still left at this moment. Eventually, for those 4 to 5 matches,
Yep,
will actually tell us that how the story is going to turn out. Because now the next match is going to be one of those table turner type of map, which is going to be Kalahari, the red desert map, where every team tries to perform exceptionally well because you get a lot of ridges into a consideration. A lot
yep.
of high tower advantages are there. A lot of low ground, low lying areas are also there as well. So you can easily become, let's say, a bait, or you can actually become the predator. It's all about the fight.
Well, it's all about the height advantage. I would like to correct that, Raider, because you have also seen, you must have seen that
Yeah.
as much as you have the height advantage, the more is the chances that you will get the number of frags and the position you will get. Because Kalahari is a map where if you attain a particular peak or a particular point, you will be able to look out for the whole, say, a bigger area, a bigger radius, which means that you will be knowing from where is the enemy going to attack you, and you can make a pretty great defense around there because these players are professional. They know what they're doing and they are doing it pretty great. And I know if they get any information about their enemies going to attack on them or anything as so, they'll for sure make a pretty quick defense against it.
For sure, for sure. If they want to survive, you have to actually defend yourself as well. The teams
Very
which are
true.
going to be aggressive, they are actually coming up with some good strategies. If I'm not wrong, because in the last one, if I'm not wrong, S2G was one of those teams which was trying to gather as many as finishes as it was possible. But what happened? Eventually, when it came to Booyah, they were unable to survive because when you are
Very
aggressive,
true.
you are actually becoming quite volatile to exploit. You are actually becoming quite vulnerable. You are way to open up. Is actually going to be some other guy who is going to pop 1 or 2 members of your team, and apart from that, you are now going to get handicapped. So that was something which was
Very
pretty
true.
hard to get in the first match. But in the second match, they evolved. They chose to, let's say, learn from the mistakes, and now the result is in front of you with some good amount of finishes. I believe close to 5 or 6 kills was there, and apart from that, a booyah at means 12 point of that particular perspective is also going to be there for that team. So it's a happy, it's a win-win case for that team. Apart from getting some good points in the leaderboard, their motivation is going to be and what now. But that doesn't mean that the other team is not going to catch up to you. So obviously, the next match can be very critical to watch out that how hard to get, or teams like, let's say, GM is going to survive, but teams like QR, to be precise, are going to survive because in the first one, QRV Tyrants were able to get the booyah. In the second one, it was a team hard to get. In the third one, it could be some other team, and I would like to pray that it is going to be some other team so that we can actually see the balance in the equation, the balance in the competition. It should be not one single team which is going to dominate every now and then.
Well, very true. But Team H2G has shown us a very beautiful example of consistency. They have been consistent in the last 2 matches. In the first match of Bermuda, they were seen in the top 3, but they couldn't land it to the Booyah part. But in the second match, they completely changed it out and landed it to the Booyah. But now, since the third match has started, we can see that the plane path started from Mammoth and is somewhere going to end at around Old Hampton. This plane path is going to leave the eastern areas totally ghosted, totally, I would say, empty, because players won't be very, I would say, prone to reach those areas.
Well, definitely quite tough for these teams to survive and eventually be at the right kind of location because the place one is slightly on the western shelf. So teams which are trying to drop in the vicinities like on the eastern verge of this particular map, so they are going to face a lot of backlash. But apart from that, if we talk about Team Beta, I'm glad to see that the four-man power finally comes in.
Well, for sure, finally the four-man power comes in, but Team AXT can be seen on the higher grounds already. The safe zone will appear in 42 seconds, but till then, we can see that the players are already looting up. We can see 43 players right now. It means that some teams are again lacking the four-man advantage.
Well, definitely, these teams which are lacking the four-man advantage are going to get crushed down soon enough. Apart from that, if I'm not wrong, Team Ego is also trying to survive. Mammoth is the area where they are going to loot up to. This area is very open-ended. Eventually, the clash is not there, so I guess that is why they are still surviving for the moment. That's interesting to watch out, the way they are surviving. 41 people are there in the lobby. That means we are going to witness quite a lot of clash. But right now, as you all can see, the people are falling short of their breath. A lot of people are getting down in their knees. S2G, if I talk about this particular team, hard to get. Well, Jay-Z has been caught off guard. Apart from that, this particular team, this is the guy who is known as Forbios. He has got Forbits to be precise is the name. He has got 2 amazing kills into his consideration, and now he's looking up to more and more. Apart from that, his teammate is also looking at a fight, and there we go. The fight comes in. He was taken down quite swiftly, but is it going to be a backup-like situation coming up, or is it going to be the end of his teammate known as Batman?
Well, I don't think so that Batman could be saved anymore. But. Forbits coming for the rescue. He got one more finish, but at what cost? He lost 2 players. 2 casualties and 3 finishes. Not a good ratio, I would say, Rita. But for now, at the current scenario, H2G is not at all playing it safe right now. They are not at all playing it hard to get. They have already lost the 2 men. Which means if they go aggressive again, they might lose the last 2 men as well. The only thing that I would say that would protect them from the current scenario is recalling the players that they have done already. Team AV can be seen in the areas where they have a great loot, the blue tier loot, where they have the most amount of loot. But the airstrike, I would say, can be seen here. The players landing down are about to be hunted. They don't have the loot, as we know. But one running swiftly towards the player. Let's see what's going to happen.
Indeed, they're trying their little best to survive, but eventually it's going to be a very, let's say, tough tide. Watch out. If I talk about Team AV, Tanamu, Retoons, Vines, Raymil are surviving. In the last match, we saw that how Tanamu was trying his level best to glide eventually in the 6th and 7th zone. Particularly, that was not fruitful for the team. I hope so that in this one, they're going to be learning something from that, let's say, fallout. But if I talk about Team RS6, Phoenix has been taken down. Revival is something which is going to be a little bit outside the circle, and the other guy is already going up to the vending machine. He knows that the teammate is not going to surpass the particular survival check, so he's already on the vending machine with the tokens, and there we go. Phoenix is already back in the game.
Well, Phoenix is back again in the game, and we can see that Phoenix has actually risen up from his ashes, and we can see that Chrono Shield is being deployed on point. The glue wall and the Chrono Shield combination is going to save Kiasi from the current scenario, and he might give the revival to his teammates. Getting the inhalers on point, and will he be able to revive his teammates is the main question right now. Phoenix trying to rush on but couldn't. Getting a knock for his team is the least favorable thing you could do.
Indeed, it is not going to help you a lot in terms of your performance if you actually go with this kind of fight. Phoenix is once again out of equation. Okay, once again he's back in the game. That's interesting to watch out. If we talk about Calibre, he's also trying his level best to retain some good ones with those grappling hook gun. He's trying to have some kind of a courage in his consideration. But is it going to help him or not? Well, that is something we have to watch out. 30 players surviving in the lobby, and these 30 players, only the 4 are actually going to become the team which is going to get the Buddha. Let's see which team is going to be that. Is it going to be Team Buddha because the 4-man power is there? And in this match, tides can be turned into favor.
Well, I hope so. Tiles turn in their favor because Team Vita has been seen in the top 5 but never getting the booyah. 30 players alive we can see right now are going to fight in the desert right now. Team FX can be seen losing one player, but Gozu, Aguila, Cheers. These 3 players have already known how to change the game, how to get the game in their favors. Aguila, I guess, is leading the team right now because he knows the perfect way entry towards the zone. The safe zone has started shrinking and they must get their way into the zone very soon.
They must be in the zone at the right time period, otherwise the zone is going to patch them a lot. If we talk about Gosu, he's also been taken down. Now Chess becomes the last one standing. He has to be very, very safe, very, very consecutive in terms of his gameplay, and I believe he won't be able to do that kind of stuff. And yeah, there we go. The team has already been taken down. That's side to watch. One more team is out of the equation, out on the dirt. In this red desert, a lot of blood has been shed, and that is why I believe we call it the red desert.
Well, very true, very true. That was quite philosophical, but on the other hand, we can see a beautiful knock coming up from ACPD. This gun has proved miracles. This gun has proved wonders. But M187 is the most favorite gun that anyone would ever want. Glue wall's deployment being on point is going to restrict this player from coming in, but Morgan getting what is going to happen next. A beautiful 1v2 could have happened, but Maldi, being the one in charge, took him down and got his revival and got the player a great revival.
Yeah, he was able to retain some good blows. Apart from that, if we talk about this guy, he was having the Karnate. He was trying to hold his vision to the teams which were lurking in the shadows. But right now, he was not aware literally that there could be someone using those grappling hook gun and being back in the game, and that's what happened. Apart from that, if we talk about Josh, that guy was knocked out. He's back in the game. That's interesting. Now he has to repatch himself so that he can fight back a little bit more. But there we go. Another jump shot comes in. One more member is actually jumping in and trying to take the first. Is it going to be a possibility? No, it's not. He's going to catch him apart. But apart from that, a double kill
Wow.
from BH's corner. That's interesting. Void Pace was able to get some good, amazing goals in this situation. And apart from that, one more team is now going to be able to this particular match.
Well, Team BH is looking pretty aggressive right now. They are on an aggressive stance that can be held by no one right now, as anyone who tries to hold them is crushed to crates. And for the current scenario, we can see that Morgana has been recalled and he is on his way back to the field. But if we talk about the players, they are on a very aggressive front right now. If you try to hit them, they'll hit you back very hard, and in fact, hard enough to take you down. Back to where you came from. The zone is again starting to shrink, which means that the many teams are about to be rotated, which means that they are going to get a lot of kills right now.
From kills, I guess they have to actually survive as well, because when you actually shoot a bullet, you are going to alert the enemy, and apart from that, a lot more enemies who are actually waiting for the right time moment to give a third party so that they can actually come back and eventually sort you out. So yeah, you have to take down the enemy, but apart from that, you have to actually be vigilant about this situation where you have to survive as well. If we talk about on yours, well, he has been taken on. Paul has been following him. Invoker, if I talk about this guy, he was about to push in, but right now, when he knew that his teammate has been taken down, he was like, basically, there is no worth in actually coming up in that push. He also might go down, but Invoker was able to take one more down with that beautiful M1014.
Well, for sure, and as per the current scenario, Team WL losing one player, getting one frag is kind of a ratio that you won't want everywhere. But Paul again down on the knees with that M14 triple I, couldn't survive enough and crushed down to the crate again. Invoker and Tacular being the last human standing. Let's see what miracles are this two-man tag team going to wonder.
Well, definitely this team wants to survive, and eventually they're trying their best to gain some good points. Apart from that, these blanks and these knees are actually getting in, creating a lot of part of the enemy. Let's see what happens. 88-7 is going to be the gun which is actually going to use, but when it comes to a fight where you actually have three enemies in front of you, obviously survival is going to be something which is going to get impacted. That's what happened to the guy. He is swiftly taken down. Moving up ahead, Paul and the other guys, can they be back in the game? I guess it all depends on the last enemy player.
Well, for sure it does, and as per the current scenario, the safe zone has already been shrinking. TAV has to gain a particular good area inside the zone as they are on the lower grounds. There might be the prey pretty soon, but if they get the higher grounds, they might become the predators as well. And on the other hand, if we talk about Team H2G, they have a good spot inside the zone, but not to forget, the Team AV has already started rotating. Wine can be seen on a flank, which means that Wine is already taking a larger area inside his cover, and that will obviously help his teammates pretty well in, capturing the hard to get areas. But Team RS is again on the aggressive front right now, and also talking about Team BH, BH can nowhere be seen right now. What is going on is something that will blow everyone's mind. Teams are in their prime form right now and they are fighting to get that top 3 spot for qualifying.
Well, qualification is something which is going to be the end game for this particular phase. But apart from that, they have to actually maintain their competition and learn from the other teams as well that what they are doing right, and eventually what is something which is being lacking, so that we can become the one of those all-over champion type of team. Apart from that, they are now trying to figure out that how to be placed into the particular play zone. RS6 is actually trying their level best to be in the zone. But they are going to definitely face some difficulties from those teams which are going to gatekeep. Those teams can be lurking in refinery region, or they can be on the little bit on the southern verge. They are also going to hold up because, as we can see, the number of players to be precise is actually looking quite sharp. 22 players are surrounding this whole small map, small, let's say, play zone to be precise. So these 22 players are actually going to hold vital positions from which they can easily land some good shots.
Well, for sure, they have a very great height advantage, but they need a ground cover as well, which we can see coming out from the ends of Kaizo. Sheila can be seen right now fighting to get upon, but with that bat, I don't think so that he will be dealing a lot of damage. Sarine can be seen upwards, taking a lot of damage, but not dealing as much. Sarine being down, he is at a vulnerable point right now, which means that he might be key to get inside Team Vita's safer defense.
Well, indeed, the team has to survive. Apart from that, as you can see, 13 are desperate, trying to get some good blows. 13 has been taken down, Electro has been taken down. On the other word, if we're talking about the shots coming up, as you can see, some blue balls have been appointed, but guys, so this guy is also receiving some good shots from both the corners, from both the ends to be precise. But will they be able to survive or not? That is something which is going to create a lot of buzz in the fight. And there we go, the shots are coming up. 3 good members of this particular team has been taken down. Now it's all about the last one signing. Okay, the whole team has been knocked up. Okay, Shella was actually in the scene, but finally Shella also was taken down. Just like that, Vita is out of equation. The game is done and dusted for this team as well in this particular match. Back and forth, this team is unable to survive for the Booyah. Yes, of course, they are able to be in the top 5, but that definitely is not going to cut the deal.
Well, being in the top 5 is not going to be enough for you to qualify right now, my friend. Team BH can be seen a full 4-man strong and with a great number of kills, and they knew where to stop their over aggression. They didn't get the aggression to reach that overword. They were at the particular point. Team AV, Tanamo, getting knocked down right now, but I don't think so that the revival will be possible as the players have spotted him down. The Chronos Shield being deployed on point is going to help him, but not enough that he might get revived. AV Tanamo cannot be revived right now, but his teammates have a great spot inside the zone, which they might be scouting for the further entrance. But on the other hand, if we talk about Team BH, they also have a greater area. When you talk about that these two teams collide, you know what? There'll be a ruckus, and this ruckus is what we love to watch.
Indeed, as a caster, we love to see the chaos, but eventually, if we talk about these teams, they have to maintain their consistency. They have to be aware of the situation where they can actually be taken down soon enough. And look at those right time period of placement of the glue walls because they want to survive. The drive is something which is going to be quite crazy. Retunes has been taken down. Revival is something which is going to be quite crucial. This guy was actually standing on the ridges, standing on the edges of those particular areas. And look at that. Once again, his teammate also gets blessed with the same kind of fateful situation coming. But Vine, well, definitely he's not going to survive.
Well, for sure, and we can see that Ramiel is also down on health. He must use the treatment gun, or he must use the treatments or the medkits on him, as this low health is not going to help him in the further zones.
Well, definitely, if he's actually having this kind of low amount of health and utilities are not getting replenished, he will be taken down quite swiftly. But Pine has been delivered in the game. He is back and forth, still surviving. Apart from that, I guess if we talk about Retunes, he definitely won't be able to survive. If he has got the grappling hook gun, then definitely he might be able to survive. But apart from that, I think the fall damage can be catastrophic for him. Now, moving apart, if we talk about another team, Josh has been taken down. We have got Morg Nye, we have got Whiteface and Caldi. These are the 3 players which are still surviving. They are waiting for the right time period. They are waiting for the right opportunity to strike on. But is it going to be an easy task? Well, that is something which is not going to be, let's say, a piece of cake for them. Om is the gun that this guy is actually holding up, and you already know Om can be very critical. One good shot can easily send you to sleep.
Well, critical is not the word that I would choose. It's a very brutal gun as it doesn't spare even anyone. Not even the one that is far enough. It will kill each and everyone, anyone that is in its way. And for now, we can see that Team AV has to get inside the zone. They're already out of the zone. A few players are out of the zone, I would say. And Team PH can be seen on a very aggressive front. They just slammed in the vehicles in the center, and now they are up for all the challenges. The nades are being spamming right now. Glue walls have been deployed, and the nades are again slamming out their ways inside the glue wall. Chronos Shield is something that you would like to use, my friend, but not right now. Team BH is very aggressive, which actually got them down on their knees.
caught off guard, and that's what happened. Morganai is going to be the last man standing. He's the only guy which is surviving, handing some good flags. That's what he's actually having up to. But now the chrono shield was appointed, but that definitely was
Quadra
last team.
kill.
The guy was taken out with this. I guess the Booyah comes in. A beautiful team was able to deliver this Booyah in the consideration, and just like that, the game is done. That's the third match for the day is already over. The team which is going to get the Booyah deserved it quite well, I believe.
Well. This booyah was pretty well deserved. And Raider, I saw the whole map. You saw the whole map. What do you have on your mind regarding this whole match?
I guess the ridges are going to be quite vital. That's what actually I would like to point on, because every single team which is on the top ridges, which was on the top ridges, was able to land some good spots and good shots to be precise. But apart from that, if I talk about the enemies, they were also able to appoint some blue balls at the right time period so that they were able to survive. And apart from that, they were also able to reciprocate those shots. A lot of knockouts were there on the top of those towers, as you all can see. And eventually, if we talk about that Om guy from Team WL, he was also taken down from the back end from the lower ridges. That actually means that ridges are going to be quite beneficial for you. But if you are unable to take the benefit of those doubts, those ridges, you're not going to survive anytime soon, because the teams which are at the bottom, I guess they still know how to fight back.
Well, for sure they do, and they have done it pretty well. The teams that were seen nowhere have come out of the blue and created a very blue spot in the hearts of their enemies. That very lethal or that very poisonous spot, I would say, which is going to make a clearer way towards the top three, I would say, because more 4 maps are left. These 4 maps are going to be the decider of what is going to be the future of these Philippine qualifiers.
Definitely, it will show us that which are the teams which are going to remain on top. And eventually, this is just the team number 1 for Philippines qualifier. So obviously, it is going to be quite critical. The teams which are unable to perform in this particular match are going to perform in the next one, because the cycle is about to repeat. So again, we are going to get Bermuda, Purgatory, and Kalahari is going to be there. The fourth match which is still left can be Alpine, or if the map is going to be there, that definitely is going to be Alpine, if I'm not wrong. And as you can see, as per the map schedule, we are going to see only 6 matches, but there could be the 7th one. So wait for that. That could be a little surprise for you guys. In the first match, you saw we had a QRB titles coming up with a beautiful Booyah. In the second one, it was Team hard to get with a beautiful Booyah. And the third one, it was another beautiful team which was trying to gain some good points. But right now, the cycle is once again going to repeat. As we said about it, we talked about it. Bermuda, Purgatory, and Kalahari is going to be the 3 maps which are going to come in front of our screens. Alpine could be a little surprise.
Well, not to reveal the surprise very soon, let's let it be. And for now, as we know that the next match is going to be about Bermuda. Bermuda is the classic map of Free Fire Max. Because we all know Bermuda is the most played match according to the research or whatever you can say. You can say anyone who plays Free Fire Max has actually started from Bermuda only. So Bermuda is a map that has been practiced a lot, and that means that we are going to see some very professional shots coming in from our players.
Well, definitely, this is one of those maps. Whenever you download this particular game, Free Fire Max, you are going to get by the map or by the game default, you are going to get this particular map downloaded, and eventually this is
Very
the first
true.
map which is going to be, let's say, the battleground. Eventually, it is going to give you the essence of Free Fire, essence of Free Fire Max to be precise, and how this game is actually going to hold up to your charm or not, whether you're going to like it or not. Bermuda is the map which is going to give you the gist of all the fight, all the carnage which is going to be there. So that means somewhere around Bermuda is one of those maps which is going to be in your sleeps, in your dreams, whenever you actually think about Free Fire Max. This is the particular map which you are going to think about, and this is the particular battleground which you actually know about. So I believe teams are actually going to have every single ridges, every single compound, every single doorway, every single, let's say, utility, and every single vital infrastructure in their mind, in the back end of their mind, precisely, so that they can actually perform exceptionally well. Apart from that, if I talk about maps like Purgatory and Kalahari, these are one of those lovely maps which is actually being used in competitive as well quite often. But then again, this is one of those maps which I guess classic players don't love to play. As far as Bermuda is concerned, this is one of those beloved maps which everybody loves to play, everybody wants to play.
Well, for sure, and we can see that the map has already started. The plane path can be seen from observatory towards mill. Let's see what is going to be the main drop areas, as the blue zone or the blue tier loot has a very far area from the plane path.
Well, let's see how the fights are going to be there. Eventually, if we talk about this particular region where Team FX is trying to drop in, I believe they are still searching for the right facility where they want to drop in, and eventually after getting dropped in, They have to gather some good utilities. In the past match, you saw that how this particular team gets diminished in the front circles, and after that, eventually, if even if their player is actually able to get that revival done invested, still again they don't have the right kind of utilities, and eventually, while they're falling into the battle area, they just go down to dust. Right now, they're going to search that vehicle. They're going to get that vehicle and eventually go a little bit more further because the play zone, or should I say, the flight path, was not helping them a lot in terms of their, let's say, reach to the specific locations where they want to loot.
Well, very true. And as for the present zone scenario, we can see that hangar is the area which is going to be seen flooded with the teams. The teams are already up here. We can see that team FND has already, FNO has already got the loot done. Not totally, but yeah, they have got a gun which is enough to kill the enemy in front of them. Now, what they are trying to do is going the initial point of the plane path. The safe zone has already appeared, and as far as I think, it is going to be kind of an eastern shift.
Let's see what happens eventually. Predictions are something which is I'm not going to be comfortable on. On the other corner, if we talk about team hard to get, well, that is a team which is still hard to get, and they are still on top after 3 good matches. After 1 good booyah, 56 points is something which is they're going to live up to. AV is actually having 53, just shy of 3 points from team S2G. WL has to go a long way to just actually catch up these two particular teams because they have to get one amazing booyah in the consideration, then they might be able to chase it. Ego with 33 points, QR with 32 points, QRV with 20 points, FX with 27 points, BH with 24 of their own, Veta with 18 points, RSX with 14 points, FNG with 12 points as well. AXT still remains at the bottom with only 10 points in their consideration. I am happy to see that every single team is able to touch the double-digit marker, but 10 points is something which is not going to, let's say, let you sleep tonight very easy.
Well. This point difference is going to be a huge ruckus in the whole area, as Team BH is playing pretty good, but not enough to be surpassing the other teams and get into the top 3. As we can see, H2G, AV, and WL holding the top 3 spots right now. H2G is as I said, H2G gave us the perfect example of consistency. They were consistent in the all 3 maps, I would say, and that is what led them towards this. And now the victory celebration is something that they would want to celebrate. They are trying to, make fun. They are trying to, I don't know. This is something that you would want to enjoy.
Let's see what happens eventually, how the fights are going to get delivered. For the moment, a lot of emotes are coming up from this particular teams because they know that they are in the top right now, but that is something you don't have to be proud of for now because still a long way to go. You are not becoming the Asia champion with this particular Asia Cup champion with this particular fight, with this particular 3 matches in consideration. A long way to go right now. So obviously getting filled with your confidence is something which you never want to go with. But I believe S2G has the right kind of strategy, has the right kind of, let's say, homework done and dusted, and I believe that is why somewhere around they're also feeling the joy because every now and then, if you don't have the smile on your faces, the pressure can be immense, and somehow you might be able to get succumbed to that pressure. So obviously, laughing to it, having some small joyous moment is going to be quite critical for these particular teams, and that's what they're living up to. So every often, let's say, as a caster, I would love to coin this particular term that either you win it or you learn from it. There is nothing as to lose it. So obviously, guys, you have to learn something new if you are actually not able to compete at the best moment. So learn about these particular fights, learn something new, and eventually be back even stronger in the next one. So obviously, it can be very crucial to see that how the consistency and the fights are going to be there. We have got Veta, Kaiso, we have got Sheila, we have got 13, we have got Lesbo. These are the 3-4 members which of this particular team which are still surviving. That's interesting. The way they are surviving can be very amazing. Let's see what happens eventually, how the fights are going to get delivered from these particular teams. All right, if I talk about the Blues, that can be quite crucial. Moving up ahead, we've got AXT. One good member from this particular team has already been taken down. Moving up ahead, if I talk about Ego, we have got MJ, Masai, Mice, to be precise is the name. Soria, and apart from that, Adrian is actually going to be there. So a lot of ruckus might be actually falling short soon enough, but this team is more than dominant in terms of their TPP. But apart from that, I believe I saw a small dot in the skies. That could be somebody who is jumping once again after getting the recall. This particular team is looking a bit short of their, let's say, HP, bit short of their, let's say, performance because they're empty-handed. They don't have any kind of flags in their perspective, but I guess very soon the flags are about to come in. MJ, Miles, Soria, Adrian, these are the 3, let's say, situations which are going to be there. Let's see how the fights are going to be there. Apart from that, we have got Team J, Maisha, Soria, Adrian is actually still lurking in the shadow.
Well, for sure they are lurking in the shadows, but for now, we can see that Jazzy right now taking that bike up and riding in swag, trying to get inside the zone ASAP, but the loot is what takes him back. Team SX is right now getting their way inside the zone, but the blue zone is approaching them very soon, which means that they'll have to be inside the zone as soon as possible, or if they fail to do so, they'll be in very big trouble.
Well, definitely that trouble can be immense. That definition of the trouble is going to be like you are not going to be able to get any kind of points in your consolation. And apart from that, those lack of points is going to create another level of pressure on you. Moving up by too easy, was able to put up a beautiful knockout. Is it going to be a possibility where he's going to get the frags or not? That is something we have to look up to. So let's see what happens. How the fights are actually going to get delivered. We have got Gosu, we have got Aguila, we have got Chess in the scene. Too easy as himself is actually surviving for the moment. 29s from 29 points is what 29 plays to be precise is what we are looking up to. 4 amazing kills from this particular corner. Luisi is able to become the behemoth that we actually love to see. RSX on the other corner, Phoenix is there eliminated. One more member from the lobby. Team RXS is also having some good points. If we talk about Team S2G, this team is unable to survive a bit more because as you can see, 2 good members from the team has been taken down. RSX on the other corner is here. We have got Faces, we have got CSC in the scene, we have got Phoenix, we have got Kelly Play. These are the 4 members which were surviving, but right now 1 good member has been taken down. So obviously that guy has to be back in the fight so that they can actually pull through some good punches. But right now we have to be dominant. We have to look up to the fight. But again, a shot comes in, trying to patch himself. Chrono Shield has been actually built up so that he can actually survive a bit more. But apart from that, shots are still going to come in. Shots are still going to impact him quite a bit. UMP is the gun that this guy is actually going to use. Apart from that, UMP he's actually going to build some good shields as well. Okay, another throwable comes in, but that throwable wasn't able to take him apart. But there was an element of surprise with that shark suit. The guy was able to take him apart just like that. Another beautiful takedown has been taken down. That's impressive to watch out. Well, as you all can see, right now we might actually look up to another fight. Phoenix is there, Calibre is there, but the 2 good members of this particular team has already been destroyed. Let's see how these 2 other players are going to survive and eventually if they be able to get some amazing blows on their end or not is going to be another goal. We have got Vetas Kaisov, we have got Shaila in the scene, Tadine is also there, Lexo is also going to survive. These players might not be able to gain some good points because every now and then we have seen they try to be in the zone, but eventually while they are pushing into the particular play zone, they are getting crushed on. So that's quite critical to watch out. We have got Kosu, Akira, Shares, Suizi. These are the few members which are still surviving. 29 players once again is the same number that we actually talked about a few minutes earlier. But right now we might see more and more blows coming up. Kosu, Akira, Shares, Suizi. Still focusing on the loots. Still trying to actually take up the fights. Well, for the moment, Akila, Gosu, Cheers, and Too Easy, these are the 4 members. Yeah. Aguila, Gosu, Cheers, Too Easy. Too Easy with the 6 amazing kills to be precise at this moment, gets his 7th one into his first interesting one. 7th frag is there, 7 amazing kills is already there in this team's courtyard. Right now, moving up ahead. I believe more and more kills are actually going to come, and for sure for this particular guy, the way he's performing is absolutely amazing. Too easy. With 7 amazing kills, quite a few teams are going to be there who don't have any kind of frag in their perspective, but the way this lone wolf is performing is absolutely amazing. 29 teams is 29 players to be precise is what we are looking up to. From the other corner, PHS, Caldi, Voidface, Morgan, and Josh is still going to remain in the lobby. They are still going to perform equally well. They are still hunting for more and more shadows, and if they be able to get some good points, that would be absolutely like a cherry on top. 30 players now. Okay, the player numbers are actually increasing a little bit because the people are able to recall their teammates. But once again, the team number actually gets cut short. Once again, the player numbers are actually getting cut short. So that's interesting to watch out that how this whole situation will be carried away. Morgana is there. Void Voice is there. Caldi is going to be there. Josh is going to be there. 28 players still. We have to wait for the right time period. Whenever the fight comes in, we'll be talking about that. The guns that this guy is actually using is going to be ABCD, and apart from then, the other gun is actually going to be like one of those guns which can easily assist him a lot in terms of his performance. If we talk about Elite, the Namo is actually well loaded with the vehicles. The gun is he's wielding is going to be Bison. Cruiser X has been delivered from that drop. That's interesting. We have got Wine as well, trying to drop in, trying to actually just convert these frags in his favor. But is it going to be an easy task? I don't believe in that. But then again, they have to take up the fight. Thompson is another beautiful gun that this guy is actually using. CSS, if I talk about this guy, MP40 is the gun that this particular player is actually using. All right, still waiting for the fights to come in. What do you think, guys? Where the fights will be lying down, how the fights are going to get delivered. Veta, if I talk about this particular team, okay, Kaiso is one of those players who has been taken down. That's interesting to watch out because we are still facing that kind of, let's say, log or say, let's say backlog of this particular team, which is unable to perform in terms of their regulation. Kaiso is there, Shella is there, Nadine is there, Lesgo is going to be there. These are the three members which is surviving. Kaiso has to get that revival. Kaiso has to be back in the game eventually. I guess that revival is something which might not be possible for the moment because as you can see, this is going to be the fourth zone which is going to again be quite critical. M14 and the bat has been summoned. Now the ban is actually getting opened up. I guess small banters will be coming up soon enough. Apart from that, some throwables have been used in. So yeah, Tosu is surviving. Agila is surviving. Chess is surviving. Too easy is still looking up to the charm. Let's see how their performance will be calibrated. Still waiting for the right time period. If we talk about this particular team, well, too easy with 8 amazing flags. This guy, man, is unstoppable for the moment. The way he's gaining some points is absolutely amazing. Gosu, Agila, Cheers, Caldi, Voidface, Morgan, Shosh. From the other corner, this is Team PH, which is still surviving, which is still thriving. This could be one of those teams which can actually put a full stop on FL's carnage. But if FL is unable to get stopped, I guess that could be quite amazing. Well, with that charge buster, with a beautiful shot coming up, Morgan was able to get a beautiful knock. That was amazing. Knockouts are still coming up. Now, once again, charge buster might actually get summoned, but apart from that, some throwables have been used up. Let's see if the throwable will be able to take them apart or not. Of course, the throwable was able to tag them quite a bit. M79 once again gets used up, and there we go. The eliminations are coming up. A double kill comes in for Morgan's corner. That's interesting. Morgan still comes up with a fight, and there we go. The triple kill is also summoned. 12 amazing players are still surviving, but the way these players are falling short is something which is going to be quite amazing to watch out. Every now and then, we are actually seeing people losing their life, people losing their kind of, let's say, instance, and this is what is going to be quite critical to watch out. Next fight can be one of those amazing fights where we might actually get the booyah, because I guess 3 to 4 players, 3 to 4 teams, that's what we are going to live up to. AXT's Go to Boy also gets one amazing knockout. That's interesting. That means AXT is still surviving. That player is still gaining some good points. Apart from that, the visibility is coming up. You can already see the shots are being increased. Obviously, the trades are not coming out. I don't know why the shots are not going to get connected by that particular angle, but Go to Boy once again managed to get some good blows. Okay, that shot was able to connect him apart, but still unable to knock him out. But shots are making significant impact, that's for sure. This impact is going to be quite critical. Remember, guys, this is going to be game number 2. Match number 4 is there right now. This is the team against qualifier, and right now you can already see that the leaderboard is going to get shifted quite a bit. Once again, let me remind you, this is one of those tournaments where 9 amazing countries from Asia are actually taking up a part in this Free Fire Asia Cup, and these 9 amazing countries are actually showcasing their talent, are actually pulling through with their best of the best teams, and these best teams are actually performing quite prestigiously. As you can see, the performance is something which is going to be quite overwhelming to watch out. 9 people are surviving at this moment. As you can see, 9 amazing players are still surviving. We have got AXT, Fear, Kando is going to be there. Fear, apart from that, Chessman is actually going to be there. Once again, the collaboration, the fight, the gun game is once again going to be quite brutal. Let's see how this whole situation goes on. Aldi still tries to survive. Roy once again tries to put that woodpecker in the action, but is it going to be a charming region, or is it going to be one of those lack of fruitful outcomes? Let's see what happens. Okay, the drone was there. Right now he wants to just... See, the shots are coming up. I guess that is not a drone. That is somebody dropping after getting a recall. Oh, that's interesting. I was unfortunately mistaken from that particular perspective, but as you can see, the fights are still coming up. You've got Void Face with the 4-man power. His team is with the 4-man power. AXT is also with the 4-man power. Gotaboy on the other corner is actually receiving quite a few damages, but right now he wants himself to just patch up. Here, if we talk about this guy, he's also surviving. Gotaboy still gets back in the game. That's interesting. Kando, if we talk about this particular team, they're also getting some good points. For sure, the team is actually getting some good blows. Well, on the other corner, Om is something which is going to be quite critical. One good shot can easily land the stories out of the equation. This can be very, very brutal to watch out. Kando, Gotaboy, and chessman. These are the 3-4 members which are still surviving. So we are still waiting for the right time period when the shots and the connections might actually come in. Another mate, another throwable is coming up. Let's see how these shots are going to get connected. What do you think about the whole purpose of this particular fight, guys? Please let me know. Well, TXT's chessman, one of those amazing players which can actually get some good blows. Will he be able to get it? Let's see what happens. Very fortunately, very soon, Charge Buster was summoned, and with this Charge Buster, as you can see, another knockout comes in. A beautiful one, no doubt in that. With those amazing shots, definitely BS Calde is going to feel the blood gushing into his favor.
Quadra
And it is
kill.
going to be one of those moments where this is going to get
Dominating.
beautiful, but much needed booyah. Yes, Team Bloodyhead was able to get amazing booyah into their consideration. With this, I guess we can fortunately say that the game is done and dusted. The performance is absolutely done and dusted, and we would love to see the next fight coming up really very soon. We are going to witness the next carnage really very soon. We might see more and more blows coming up in the next one. Well, if I'm not wrong, the next match is going to be quite crucial. And let me remind you which map is it going to be. It's going to be Purgatory, where we have quite a few, let's say, fruitful places. Let me just remind you about the maps which is going to be there. So yes, of course, Purgatory is the map which is going to be there. That's what we were talking about. And meanwhile, if we talk about this particular map, we have quite a few favorite places where teams actually love to go in. Both houses there. Skylodge is going to be there. Fields is there. Crossroads is there. Marble Works is there. Brasilia is going to be there. Campsite is there. Lumberman is there. Fire Brigade is going to be there. Central is going to be there. Quarry is there. Wolf Course is there. Mount Villa is there. Forge is there. These are the few beautiful places where teams would love to actually jump in. But eventually, let's talk about those places where the teams are actually going to be, let's say, most beneficial to jump in, and eventually they will be able to gain some good points. Let me just talk about those places. So first off, it's going to be, if I'm not wrong, Fields. Yeah, of course, Fields is one of those beautiful places where teams would love to jump in. It actually, let's say, accumulates a vast area of this particular map. As the name suggests, this is actually having numerous open fields. A lot of open fields are going to be there where teams can actually jump in, and the loot is actually going to be good high tier loot. Let's say that loot can actually help you a lot in terms of your performance. So that will be absolutely amazing. The number of adversaries is often lower than the regular hot drops. So obviously, guys, that means the enemy is not going to be as much as you want to see in some other hot drops, like let's say Marble Works and the other areas where a hot drop is going to be there. Fields is actually an open region, so people don't love to drop there. But then again, that area considers quite a few opportunistic loots. So obviously, that can be quite fruitful for you guys. But however, users should be vigilant while we move in the open region. That means you have to be open-ended. You have to be much more vigilant about the perspective, because as I said, it is actually quite an open region. So being in an open region obviously comes with the, let's say, backlash. Anybody can backstab you, anybody can take you apart, anybody can take you down. These are the few things which can be quite critical. So obviously, apart from surviving, these players have to think about how they're going to survive, how they're going to live up to the fight, and how they're going to pull through with the punches. So that is something which is going to be quite critical to watch up. And eventually, if I talk about the next beautiful area, that can be Marble Works. It is spread in a large area where across many compounds are there. In the Marble Work, a lot of compounds are going to be there. So obviously, definitely you can loot few more good compounds. But right now, guys, in 30 seconds, we are going to see that where the Purgatory flight path is going to be on, how the flight captain is going to drive the flight, and eventually showcase the kind of carnage. We are going to witness these amazing 12 teams dropping in the vicinity, dropping in the favorite preferred locations, and then again take up a fight. As we know, Purgatory is going to be one of those maps which is filled of 3 islands, a lot of bridges, a lot of catapults which can actually pull you from one island to another island. So obviously it is going to be quite amazing to watch out how these sliders are going to help you in terms of the rotations as well. Bridges are something which is going to be also very vulnerable to watch out for, because once again, when the bridges comes in, that can be very critical. You are trying to rotate, somebody is actually going to spot you out. You don't have a lot of area to actually rotate from then, because if you want to jump in from the bridge, obviously it is going to clean out, or let's say swap out a lot of HP from your character, and that can be very critical. If the HP is not there, obviously 1 or 2 good shots can easily land you or down, or the knockout can actually come in, which can be quite critical. But right now, if we talk about the fight coming up, it is starting from Crossroads region. It is going towards the Lumber Mill, or should I say Campsite and Forge. So this particular area is going to be quite beneficial to watch out. Let's see how the connections are actually going to get delivered. So we've got Crossroads, Fields, Brasilia, Forge, Lumber Mill. These are the few compounds along with Campsite, which is going to be a little bit closer along with Skylodge as well, where the teams would love to jump in. Right now, we are watching Team BH, the team which actually got the previous Booyah into their perspective. A beautiful Booyah indeed. So in this Booyah, let's see how they're going to perform in this match. To be precise, will they be able to get the Booyah or not? That is something which is going to be quite crucial. For the moment, we have got S2Gs, Insane, we've got Forbits in the scene, we've got Ares, we've got Batman. Every single player is being dominant. And as well, I'm also going to be a little bit more dominant on the corners so that we can witness the fight. Whenever the fight comes in, I'll be able to consult with you guys at how the fights are coming up. Meanwhile, make sure to open up the chats, make sure to open up the like, share, and subscribe button, and make sure to just lit them apart, just like these players are trying to lit the lobby. So make sure to go ahead and get the guns done and dusted. Shanks is there from Team QR. They are not looking that heavy, as you can see the shots are coming up. One good player was taken down. Apart from that, the other guy was also taken down, and there they go. Blank is able to gain some good points. Solo shield has been appointed, but still the damage getting unsuccumable. Finally, a beautiful knockout comes in, and just like that, Team QR is still surviving. This is the team which actually got the first ever booyah in this game, particularly from Philippines region. This is day number 1. This is match number 5. The map is Purgatory, and we all know in the first match, the team which actually got the booyah was this particular team, which is known as Team QR. What an amazing performance coming from this particular team. Let's see how the performance will be there. Delivered and done and dusted. This is Team Quick Reactions. The name is quite swift. In the previous match, I guess I called this particular team QRB Tyrants. That is the wrong name. The right name is actually going to be Quick Reactions, and this is the particular team which is actually getting some good points in their favor. That's interesting. If we talk about Team RS6, let me just see and check out what the name is. Team RS6 could be the Team Rebellions Squad. That could be the name. Let's see how they're going to perform and how they're going to pull through with the punches, and will they be able to gain some good points or not. Juanito, and if we talk about Team SAF, let's see what the name is. SAF/WNX is the squad name, is the roster name, but right now they are with 3-man power, which is obviously not going to bless them a lot. Having the 3-man power is already cutting their gameplay by a bit, by 25% to be precise. If your squad is going to give the 100%, right now this particular team is going to give only 75% because one good member of this particular team is already out of equation. That guy could have been very critical for these particular fights. That guy could have been actually coming up with some amazing support, or should I say amazing aggression as well. If we're talking about Team EXT, let's see how their performance will be getting balanced up. Team EXT with the blows will be able to gain some good points, I believe. I hope that these fights are actually going to be there. EXT's Chessman is there. Pierre is going to be there. Goto Boy is going to be there. Kando is going to be there. Remember, guys, this is the particular team in this previous match in the map of Bermuda. They were able to attain some good points, but in this one, will the story repeat or not? Will the fights repant or not? That is something which is going to be quite crucial. We have got FNO's guide. We've got Neon in the scene. We have got Monk FF in the scene. We have got Vincero as well. All these players to be precise, are looking up with Sham. They're trying their level best to perform and eventually gaining some good blows. Obviously, it's not going to be an easy task for them. But as far as the match is concerned, I believe the fights are going to get down really very soon. Matches will be delivered very soon. And very good comes in. M60 God is going to be on that guy. Still the damage comes in. Oh, there might be a knockout coming up soon enough. As you can see, a lot of shot has been exchanged from Team FNO's corner. FNO 2 speed is going to be the team to be precise, and you can already see that how this particular team is performing. They're getting some good points in their favor. Apart from that, not even a single kill is being registered in this guy's corner. So let's see, will they be able to chase the kills or not? Yeah, the teammates were able to chase the kills, I believe, altogether. If I talk about the leaderboard, AV is going to be the team which is still at the top with 63 amazing points, with S2G remaining at the second position with 62 points. PH, or should I say Bounty Head, is going to be there with the Bloodyhead, to be precise, is going to be with 50 points. FX with 45 of their own. Ego with 38 points. WL with 37 points. QR with 35 points. QRV. DRV, or is it QRV? Okay, I guess that is DRV. DRV is going to be there with 35 points. Vita is going to be there with 31 points. EXT with 28 points. RSX with 25 points. FNO 2 speed with 15 points. That is the team which is still at the bottom of the list. Definitely, it's not a great sight to watch that team being at a bottom type of, let's say, situation. But I believe next upcoming fights will be quite crucial. Let's see what happens eventually, guys. What do you think this team is going to do to overcompensate? SAF manages to get once again amazing boost in their constellation. That's interesting to watch out. SAF is once again getting close of their own. That definitely is actually going to be quite crucial to watch out that how the fights are actually going to get delivered or not. Moving ahead, I believe the gun game is going to be quite crucial. The people are just going to go with the cutthroat type of competition. Merori, Hawkeye, Yarupe. These are the few members. If I talk about Yarupe, this guy was able to attain one amazing kill in his favor. Moving ahead, I believe he might be able to chase more and more kills, and he might be able to gain some
Double
points.
kill.
Oh, another knockout coming from his corner. What a beautiful showdown. What a beautiful showcase of his kills. And just like that, this guy is once again back in the Sunshine region. He's gaining some good points. He's gaining the heart-throbbing Godspeed type of fight coming up in his favor. 33 people are surviving, out of which, if we talk about Team SAF, they are actually making a significant impact. They are making a significant amount of leisure type of fight coming up. We have got Kando, we have got Kutu Boy, we have got Fear, we have got Chessman. Few players gaining some good points, few players gaining some good blows. But this is going to be the possibility. That is something. Most of that being achieved, as you can see, a lot of shots been delivered. Still, these shots are not going to be enough for them to just trade and let's say take this fight in their favor. AXT still tries to succumb to the fight, still tries to actually pass themselves and be back in the game. Managed to get first of their flag. That's interesting. Yes, of course, Gotoboy was able to finish that particular enemy for his teammate so that the finish is actually going to get countered. That's interesting. Apart from that, we have got Fear and the other members still surviving from Team AXT. Now they have to push in to the particular play zone. So yeah, let's wait for the play zone to come in. Okay, I guess we might see some more enemies coming up on the left corner. I think I saw somebody, but was that an enemy or what? Let's see. Currently, they are trying to figure out that way the enemy might be looking. This guy known as Fear is just hunting for the blood, hunting for the people. But look at that, they are way too far away from the play zone. They have to reach out to the particular play zone. Apart from that, if the play zone is not going to be in the favor, that can be very critical. Okay, the next play zone, or should I say the second play zone, is once again a little bit far ahead. Safe zone will shrink in just 1 minute and few seconds to go. Well, Forbits still surviving, Insane still surviving, Gate is still surviving, Batman is still surviving. From Team SCG, or should I say hard to get, they have actually acquired 62 points as well in the 4 matches that they've actually played. This is going to be the 5th one. Now in this match, they want to gain some good points, but as you can see, another knockout comes in. Beautiful knockout has been delivered. They are trying their level best to resist the teammate, but will it be an easy task? Yes, of course, they have actually been able to resist that particular teammate. So have been extreme, but that definitely is not going to impact a lot in terms of their performance. Let's see how the performance gets cut short. Batman pushes in. Well, Batman might be able to trade off and get some good blows off his zone. It's interesting. Hades on the corner manages to get a flank. That flank can be critical. But from that critical flank, I guess the shots and the shear down and the takedown is going to be of sheer enthusiasm. So let's see what happens, guys. Eventually, what do you think? How the connections will be getting flavored or not? Is it going to be an easy task? Well, that is something definitely which is going to create an impact on us. We've got Forbits, we have got people like Blank coming up in fights, we have got Eagle as well trying to actually maneuver and get some good blows. And you can already see, oh, that amazing shot coming from MG2B are amazing. 2-1 has been distributed. Now, once again, the shots are being exchanged. Definitely, it's not enough to put him down. But then again, the kind of pressure that we wanted to see is actually coming up. You can see that Team QR is maintaining the pressure, is trying to actually push the nerve. Safe zone is now shrinking. And now, when the safe zone is shrinking, it can be very critical and very deadly to watch. First match was actually in their favor. First booyah of this particular day of the Philippines qualifier was there in their favor. Hand cannon has been submerged. You can already see that the damage from hand cannon can be very critical. Being exchanged, just like that, the trade is actually coming up. Now Shank has to move up, maneuver, and eventually get the backup for the teammate as well. But is it going to be an easy task? Not at all. I don't think so. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a piece of cake for this particular guy to survive in. Eagle coming up, and just like that, the whole team has been destroyed. But Team Hard to Get is not going to slow down anytime soon. Look at those shots coming up, those deadly shots being exchanged, but definitely not enough to put him down. But now this guy has to pants himself. This guy has to heal himself. Otherwise, he's going to go down to the drain soon enough. All the other member from his particular team is not looking that strong. As you can see, they are a little bit outside the particular play zone. The shots are being exchanged. Hard to Get is currently chasing the fights, but still the close-up and the fights are not coming up. Blank gets knocked out. That's what I was expecting, and that's what happened. Blank has been taken down. A beautiful swift knockout coming up. Now if we talk about Zoe, but he's also trying to perform equally well. Let's see how the performance goes on. Will he be able to gain some good points or not? That is something which is going to be quite crucial. We have got Sanks, we have got Eagle, we have got Blank, we have got Zoe. 4 good members from Team QR. Revival was there for Blank's corner, but then again, if I talk about shots coming on Shank's corner, quite a deadly one. Let's see what happens eventually in the final corner. Well, let me just open up the chat so that we can witness that what you guys are talking about. Let me just focus on chats as well, because the game is looking a bit more dormant. The people are not fighting as well as they have to be. So let's see what happens eventually, guys. Furthermore, make sure to actually love the casting, and eventually if the casting is not good enough, make sure to tell me what happens. Anyone know the full form of BKL? BKL means workload. Okay, that is amazing. Schedule is spelling, yes, of course. That spelling is wrong, I guess. Schedule is written quite, let's say, abruptly. On the other corner, if I talk about Chessman, he's trying his level best to be in the zone, but is it going to be anything task? Not at all. He's trying his level best to confront the particular play zone, trying to survive. Cheers, if I talk about Cheers and Too Easy, both of them are also trying to push forward. In the last match, if I'm not wrong, Too Easy was able to get some amazing points in his consideration, but in this one, that is something not going to be the case for us. I will win the Asia Cup. Lucky Singh is saying I will win the Asia Cup. Well, is it a piece of cake? Not at all. Let's see what happens. All insane, Anina bro. Well, he's on holiday, bro. He's going to be here tomorrow, or let's say in the another event. Insane is not going to be here anytime soon. He will be there in the next one, I believe. OG broken. If you are able to hear me. He was about to come in, but eventually, unfortunately, I guess he had some prior commitments and he was unable to deliver us the casting that we love. Eventually, make sure to support him as well. Make sure to actually keep on remembering that who is insane and who is actually going to be the co-partner as well. On the other corner, let's talk about Surya, Adrian, Pita, Emoji. These are the 4 members who are still surviving for this particular team. Being in the solo man survival type of spirit, these guys are getting some good roles. STG once again fails to showcase that kind of carnage. Now forward bids and Batman is going to be the last 2 members. Let me remind you once again, guys, we had the co-caster known as Aim God. Unfortunately, due to some personal reasons, he has to bid favorable for us for the last few matches. So after the 3rd match, I believe I'm going to be the solo caster. So yeah, 4th match has already been done. 5th match is about to go down soon enough, and after that the 6th match will also go down. So you have to be with me. Anyway, guys, solo casting is going to be there. So obviously a lot of let's say disturbance can be there in terms of, let's say, the call outs and the monotonous type of situation coming up in the casting, but don't worry, guys, I'll try my best to just get you entertained. Charge buster has been used up. Oh, the shot comes in, unable to relocate the shots, but on the other corner, once again, the shots are coming up as well. These shots are looking mesmerizing, but then again, charge buster is something which can be quite critical, and there we go with that beautiful burst out of the charge buster. He was able to take out a beautiful knockout. Once again, another knockout comes in. Look at that, how beautifully these guys are wreaking havoc in the lobby. Once again, another shot comes in, just like that, the whole squad has been taken down. If we talk about Tanano, 3 amazing kills in his perspective, and this guy is now moving up to the ladder. 3 amazing frags from his corner, particularly, guys. But now, I believe, as far as the zone is concerned, it is going to shrink in really very soon and really very rapidly, to be precise. There's 13 more seconds to go. After that, the next play zone will shrink in. I believe that could be 6th play zone. And once that play zone actually shrinks in, the fights is actually going to deliver a lot. And we are going to love the way the consistency and the intensity of this particular fight is going to go on. So let's hope that the gun game will be delivered soon enough. We have got Yarope, we have got Hawkeye, we have got McCurry, whatever the name is. Shots still being exchanged. Team FX's Too Easy has been taken down. I'm a little bit sad to see that kind of perspective, because Too Easy is one of those members who have been actually coming up with some good blows back and forth in the matches, and eventually I'm actually quite interested to see that how this guy is actually going to perform as far as the match is concerned. But for the moment, if I talk about Team FL, well, as you can see, Team FX is losing some good members. Cheers has been taken down. Too Easy has been taken down. This is the qualifier of Philippines. Philippines qualifier is coming up.
Double kill.
In front of you guys right now. Teams from Philippines are coming up with the qualifiers, and I hope you guys are going to love the kind of performance these guys are actually showcasing, because I'm loving it. The carnage is coming up, the fights is coming up. Right now, all I'm missing is a partner to just talk with about this whole situation. And Dynamo is there, Retunes is there, we've got Vine who has been taken down. Revival is something which is going to be quite crucial. But apart from that, another fight is coming up. Redux might be taken down soon enough. Jazzbuster is there, he's going to patch himself, fortunately. But apart from that, is it going to be an easy task to survive? Not at all. As you can see, Vine is actually going to get that revival or not. We'll be seeing it very, very soon. On the other corner, another shot comes in, was unable to take him apart. Arm is there, some shots have been exchanged, as you can see. Still literally fights are not getting connected.
Dominating.
The clashes are not being delivered at this moment, as you can see. We are waiting for the right time period to see that how these connections are going to get delivered. At this moment, as you can see, if we talk about CF, we have got Hawkeye, Heropi. Oh man, just 6 players surviving. I believe it's a 4 versus 2 type of scenario. I don't think so this team is going to go ahead. Okay, there is actually going to be more than 2 teams. That's interesting. AV is there. Wow, that means AV is there with the 4-man power, and AV could be one of those teams which is easily going to get that Booyah into the consideration. If the Booyah comes in for Team AV, they are actually going to be unbeatable for the day, because the kind of lead AV is actually having is mesmerizing. Look at that. AV eliminates 1 more out from the lobby. That's interesting. Only 5 players are surviving. 2 good members from Team FX are surviving, and I believe the enemy is going to be AV. Will they be able to take down AB or not? That is something which is going to be quite a big question for me. Shots are being exchanged, and 2B is going to be the gun. As you can see, those shots are being very damaging. Still not enough to put him apart. Still not enough to actually take him down. Okay, the glue wall has been destroyed, I believe. On the other corner, if we talk about Aguila, the damage comes in. Aguila has to get that revival. Of course, Aguila is going to get that revival from Gosu's corner. But will that be enough to just put them apart or not? That is going to be another huge question as well. Can say we talk about Vine and the other guys. Chargebuster is the gun they are actually using. And look at those shots coming up. Will they be able to take him apart or not? Chrono Shield has been appointed. Oh, the damage is mesmerizing. Damage is still coming up. Vine has to go into the play zone, and eventually Vine was able to cross over for the play zone, but play zone will be able to take him apart, I think so. Yes, of course, that's what happened. The play zone was able to take him down, and now last two members are actually surviving. One from Team FX, one from
Triple
Team.
kill.
Okay, that's it. I believe this is the moment of a booyah coming from Team AV's corner. What an amazing booyah coming from AC's corner. AV's corner to be precise. Quite an amazing one. Quite a swift one into their perspective, and I just love the way this performance went out. Team AV Radicals is a squad which is going to get the booyah in their consideration. Apart from getting the booyah, this team is still on the top from past 4 matches, I believe, because the way they're performing was absolutely amazing. They were being consistent. They were being over dramatic in terms of their performance. The manpower was there. Apart from, if we talk about their performance, if we talk about War FX, that was another team which was able to contemplate and get some good goals as well. FX, having the 2-man power, manages to get 2 or 3 members from Team AV's corner outside the equation. They were able to take them apart, but then eventually when the play zone hits them, it hit so hard that eventually that team was taken down with some good throwables coming from AV's corner. They were fortunately taken down. Now moving up ahead, the next match is going to be Kalahari, which is again going to be quite amazing to watch out. Kalahari once again is actually one of those beautiful areas where you love to drop in, where you love to perform, where you love to actually get some good blows. So let's see how the Kalahari's map is actually going to go on and eventually get some good blows or not. So let me remind you where the favorite places are going to be there. Like Santa Catarina is going to be one of those amazing places where you can drop in, get some good blows as well. This place actually is considered one of the safest landing spot on the Kalahari map, because guys, there are not, let's say, a lot of people jumping in that region. It is actually on the, let's say, slightly edgier part of the map. That is actually why people actually get a lot of amount of loot, and the players are going to get enough loot for their whole team so to survive. But you need to be very careful and need to look for better loot at other locations, because guys, the loot in Santa Catarina is not going to cut the deal. You have to loot more and more. You have to get some more utilities. Apart from that, the players will be not able to get the loot properly, as they need to look over their location. Santa Catarina is the best landing place in the early match to avoid ending up the game soon. That means if you don't want to go earlier, you have to jump in the Santa Catarina region, because you can easily survive a bit. You can easily get some good utilities, but then again, you have to loot other compounds as well so that you can get cherished with the right kind of utilities. For the starters, I guess the utility is going to be good enough. For the main course, the utilities have to be succumbed from the other locations as well. Another beautiful area where you want to drop in the map of Kalahari is going to be Refinery. Refinery is also a safe place to land, as it has a lot of amount of loot. The place is situated in the center of the map, and it attracts, to be precise, the players to stay ready for the long fight. As there is high amount of loot, players must be aware of enemies and be ready to take up a fight, because eventually where there is loot, where there is the center location, people are for sure going to jump in, and once the people are going to jump in, they are fortunately going to take you apart a bit. But if I talk about the next amazing place to jump in, is going to be Confinement region. The confinement area is located at the edge of the map, so there are fewer choices of for rotation. So obviously guys, you have to rotate either, let's say, from the left side or the right side. So obviously a lot of returns are going to be there at that eventually region. However, this place has a good amount of loot and is worth taking risk. So guys, you should consider this place the confinement region, because the loot is absolutely amazing. And in just, let's say, 15 to 20 seconds, we are going to witness the last match or the second last match. We'll be getting that info from the back end as well very soon for the day. Once you have looted, you need to come out of that area soon to avoid getting hit by the enemies, both by the enemies as well as the blue zone as well, because as we all know, confinement is one of those region in the Kalahari map which is going to be on the edge of the map. So apart from getting hit from the enemy, you have to be vigilant about this situation as well, that you are going to get hit or backlash by the play zone as well. Command post is again going to be another beautiful area. Command post is actually situated next to the refinery map. So basically this map is also situated in the center. That means along with the refinery, command post is going to be there, which is basically going to be in the far center region, which is absolutely amazing. The players will get heavy weapons and armor kits. Definitely that's actually a cherry on cake if you are actually getting that kind of right armory and the kits as well. Let's talk about the loot. The loots are going to be amazing and work for the fight with the enemies. That is absolutely amazing. And as you can see, refinery and command posts are some of those amazing areas which are going to be very central one, and the people are jumping in that vicinity very, very soon. So I believe the fights are about to be there soon enough. It's the best place to set up the game late. If you want to actually drop in command post, that is the best place to set up the fights late. That is something which we want to count in for. Now moving up ahead, if we talk about this particular team known as Team S2G, one of those teams which is still chasing the first position. This is going to be known as R2Cat. Will there be actually any kind of clash coming up? We'll be seeing very, very soon. If we talk about Team QR, well, they are also jumping with the right vicinity. QR is actually having some good points. Let's see into their favor. Let's talk about more and more teams. If we talk about Team AB, that is again going to be another quite tormenting team. Remember, guys, this is one of those teams which are still on the top in the leaderboard. They were actually able to get the last booyah in their favor, which was absolutely amazing. Apart from that, if we talk about Vine, he's also going to get connected, and there we go. Vine was taken on that sad to watch out. M14 was there in his hands, but still he wasn't able to attack anybody. He was unable to gain some good points. But if I'm not wrong, the other guys are also going to chase the enemy and maybe take the revenge and avenge the particular fight. Let's see what happens, guys. Ramo, Retox, and Ramel. These are the few members which are still surviving. Let's move ahead to the chat. Well, FF, Beta, whatever the name is, if you want to see the Hindi casting, brother, you should remember this is the teams coming from Philippines. Either the casting is going to be in Philippines or in English, so that those guys can actually cherish the casting. It's not for you, Indian audience. Of course, if you want to enjoy, you can enjoy it in English. Hindi casting is not going to be here anytime soon. Eventually, when the Indian qualifier comes in, you are going to witness the Hindi casting as well, where Aura Gaming and people like that are going to cast it up. So obviously, you are going to witness that kind of synergy in that. So if you want to enjoy the Hindi casting, please wait a little bit more so that we can bring back the Indian qualifiers, or should I say the next phases of the tournaments. And when the next phases are going to be there, you are fortunately going to witness that casting as well. But moving ahead, right now for the moment, you are going to get either either English, or if I'm not wrong, the Filipino casting. Let me just check out the Lidoma's page, that whatever the broadcasting is done and dusted. Okay, we just have English casting. Okay, that's something which is amazing to watch out. Just English casting is going to be there, bro. So only one stream for you guys. Okay, so guys, we are going to have the 7th match, and if I'm not wrong, the 7th match is going to be Alpine, and that map is actually going to be quite amazing to watch out. But for the moment, let's talk about the fights coming up. We have got RXX, Guantino, we have got Yaropi, we have got Hawkeye also trying to perform, we have got McCrory also in the scene. These guys constantly are trying to gain some good points, and eventually, as you can see, some headshots are coming up, some heads are being pulled up. Shots are actually getting triggered. That's important. But moving up ahead, let's see what happens eventually. How the team is going to get calibrated. That is going to be quite crucial. Shots are again getting delivered. Faces has been taken down. Phoenix is there. CSS is going to be there. Bonito is also surviving. Let's see what eventually happens. The recalls, the revivals are something which is going to be quite crucial. And there we go. The recall is there. And finally, just right now, when the recall comes in, Phoenix was able to demonstrate the kind of carnage he actually wields. Phoenix with the Bison is able to perform equally well as well. Now waiting for the right time period when the fights are actually going to get exchanged. For the moment, he might actually go a little bit on the south side. Let's talk about the leaderboard. We have got AV still on top with 85 amazing points. S2G still trying to chase with 76 points. FX with 67 points. BH falling short of 10 points from FX with 57 points. That's Aztec 4. Aztec 5 is going to get reserved with QR. Remember, guys, this is the team which actually got the first booyah. But even after that, this team is unable to gain the amount of points that we wanted to see. And even if after that, they are unable to gain the top 3 position. SF with 48 points. Ego with 35 points. WL with 40 points. AXT with 37 points. QRV, that's GRV with 35 points. RSX with 25 points, FNO with 18 amazing points. 18 or is it 19? Okay, I think it's that 19 point coming from FNO's corner. That's interesting. The point system is looking sharp. The game is looking sharp. But right now, we have to wait for the next fight to come in. S2G is forward, still looking up to the fight. Chrono Shield was appointed, and that's what he's looking up to. If I'm not wrong, S2G was getting shattered quite a bit in the previous fights, but right now they are still surviving, which is interesting. They are back in the game, which can help them a lot. Batman caught the grappling hook gun, but that gun he is actually traveling phenomenally, I believe, getting some good points. When Indian qualifiers will start? Astro World Indian qualifiers have already been started. I believe 2 or 3 days of Indian qualifiers have already been passed out. You can check out the previous streams from Lidoma India page, and you will get to know that which are those days where the India qualifiers went out. We had quite a few amazing teams coming from Indian qualifiers, guys. So yeah, make sure to actually witness that situation as well. If I'm not wrong, 2 days of Indian qualifiers, okay, 3 days of Indian qualifiers have been already passed out. So that is something which is quite crucial to watch out, guys. You should remember 3 days of Indian qualifiers is already down to drain. So the remaining days can be very crucial. I don't know how many days are going to be there in terms of the qualifiers, but then again, 3 days are already been crossed. So I guess you are missing those days, so you can just go back again on those streams and witness what the carnage was actually looking like. Day 1, March number 6. The map is Kalahari. Still waiting for the fights to come in. Still waiting for the right time of connections to come up. Yarope is there. Hawkeye is going to be there. McCrory is going to be there. The other guy is going to get the recall soon enough, I believe, with the right kind of tokens. He might actually be able to be back in the game. We are just waiting for the fights to come in because still 33 days are surviving and a lot of zone shifts are about to come in. So let's wait fortunately, see what will happen eventually in the next upcoming close. Let's see how the gun game is going to get delivered in our favor or not. Will it be against us or will it be in our favor? We'll be seeing that very soon. Well, Paul is there from Team WL's corner. We have got the people like Tackler is there. Invoker is also going to survive for a moment. So eventually, let's see how their survival is going to get. But shorted Evo was able to gain some good points. That's interesting. Team Evo is going to get some good blows of their own. So yeah, the point system is going to get spiked up very soon, I believe. Evo with 0 points for the moment is not looking that great, but then eventually I thought I saw some good players from Team Evo getting some blows, and that is actually going to be Ft.Av, if I'm not wrong, with some amazing kills. Ft.Av is one of those players which is still gaining some good points. That's interesting. 32 amazing players is what we are looking up to. 32 amazing players, guys. 32 amazing players are actually coming back and forth in the fights, trying to gain some good points. Let's see which is actually going to be the fight where these players are going to come and gain some good points. For the moment, we are still waiting for the right kind of fight to come in, because this is just the start of the fight. This is just the start of the map, to be precise. So I don't think so the fights are going to start really very soon. But then again, when the fights are going to start, I guess we are going to live up to the charm and we are going to witness a lot of things. How many teams will qualify? So let me remind you guys, only top 3 teams are going to get qualified from every single region for the next event, for the next phase, to be precise. So yeah, eventually it will be quite interesting to watch out, guys. Top 3 teams. Remember, guys, there could be some changes, but right now, as per the schedule, only top 3 teams are going to get qualified for the next event, for the next phase, to be precise. And the prize pool, that is 6,000 plus. So obviously for India, it is actually going to change from dollars to Indian rupees in terms of, let's say, 5 lakh rupees, around 5 lakh rupees to be precise. But if we talk about other regions, that can actually vary as per your currency conversion rate. But right now, if we talk about Ego, MJ, he is there right now. Ft.Av is there getting too much damage. If we talk about Adrian, he's also receiving quite a few damage. So yeah, he's also actually receiving quite a few damages in his consideration. Obviously, survival of these particular guys is actually going to get impacted soon enough. Look at that. The kind of game they are actually trying to play with is like, let's say, playing with a fire, because you can easily get burned up soon enough. You can easily be taken down soon enough. That is something you won't enjoy. But then again, these guys are trying their level best to survive a bit more and gain some good points. Definitely, it's not going to be an easy task for them. But yeah, this is what they have to actually sign up for. And if you want to fulfill your fans' belief, you have to compete, you have to gain some good points. So that's what these guys are trying to go for. Voidface is still surviving. We have got Calloy, we have got Voidface. Every single player is gaining some good points. That's interesting. 26 player is what we are looking up to. I believe the third zone is getting cut short soon enough. Safe zone is already getting shrunk. So these people which are outside the play zone have to be in the zone. S2G on the other corner managed to pop one out from the lobby. That's interesting. Team S2G is once again back and forth, gaining some good blows. Now, if I talk about this particular guy, S2G's Ace is also getting some good blows of that car 98. ABCD is going to be the gun that this player is actually using, known as S2G is insane. That's interesting. This guy is actually having an insane level of, let's say, pressure on his foot. So in order to actually win this match, these teams, or should I say specifically if I'm talking about S2G, they have to become the beast that they were in the first few matches. Right now, this team is just apart from that, nothing else. But Ares was able to dominate once again. He was able to get beautiful throw in his favor. That's interesting. But apart from that, he also gets knocked out. That's sad to watch. Aries has been taken down. Now the last man standing has to be a little bit outside the particular play zone so that he can res out his teammates. But is it going to be a possible enough scenario? I think S2G is already out of equation. That's sad to watch. But eventually, this is what happens when you try to perform, when you try to live up to the charm, but you are failing to do so. So yeah, the game is uninterested, I believe, for the team particularly. Moving ahead, if I talk about Team AV, this is one of those beautiful teams which is still on top with some 80 plus points in their favor. That's interesting. Now, the level of points that they are actually getting is amazing. But as far as I'm concerned, they have to gain more. They have to actually maintain their kind of pace in the leaderboard, and then only they will be able to call themselves the champions of the Philippines qualifier for the moment. But after that, the bigger goal is going to become the champions of the Asia Cup, which is actually going to take some nerves, take some balls to go with. One is on the other corner has been taken down. We have got CSX, we have got Phoenix, we have got Faces in the scene. Still trying to survive, still trying to acclimate some good blows. It's definitely not going to be an easy task. So the shots coming up. Oh, definitely another shot comes in. But then again, he was able to land some good shots. Mark 10 is the gun that is actually being used up. And with that gun, you can already see that the shots are looking surreal. He's actually gaining some good points. That is something I'm pretty much sure about. But now moving ahead, as far as the fight is concerned, they have to actually gain some more. They have to actually attack and get more points in their consideration. What do you think, guys, that how the fights are actually going to get delivered? Is it going to be a possible enough stance where the teams are actually going to get some good points or not? Just remind me, just tell me how these whole situations can be very beneficial for these teams or not. What do you think, guys? Will it be beneficial for these teams or not? What do you think? SAF's MCDD, the last man standing of his particular team, still trying his level best to attack and get some good points. If we talk about Team XD, we've got Kando, we've got Guto Boy, we've got Fear, we've got Chessman. Of course, one good member of this particular team is already getting too much damage. But Kando, if we talk about this guy, well, the player has been knocked up. That's sad to watch. He has been taken down, sadly, but immense amount of pressure is going to be there on his portrait, on his, let's say, face, to be precise. If we talk about Guto Boy, he's still surviving. Fear is still surviving. Chessman is still surviving. And back and forth, they're getting some good blows. That's interesting to watch out because, as far as I'm concerned, if they are actually having the right kind of utilities, that is actually going to help them a lot in terms of their future endeavors. But Kando, well, that guy has been taken down. The other three members which are still surviving, they are actually now going to focus on the fights. But let's see how the focus is actually going to get delivered, how many points they are going to get into their favor or not. That is something which we are going to live up to and check out. VH Caldi, Voiface, Morgan, Josh. 4 members of this particular team still surviving. 16 players are there in the lobby. AV is still wreaking havoc. Remember, guys, AV Radicals is one of those teams which have got an amazing booyah in the just previous match. So I believe in this one, if they are able to get the booyah back and forth once again, that can actually be once again a very amazing to watch out. So let's see what happens eventually, guys. Still waiting for the fights to come in. Philippines qualified in number 1, match number 6. Kalahari is the map. Next match could be Alpine or could be Bermuda. We'll be seeing very, very soon which is the map. So please be ready about that perspective as well, guys. Go FX. Yes, of course. Make sure to support your favorite team. That's interesting. Anna, you are trying to support your team. That is absolutely amazing. You should support your favorite team because that is what they are actually here right now for. See, I suppose something which is obviously going to help. I suppose, I guess, getting the joy of these fans, getting the joys of their supporters is something which is going to be quite amazing to watch out for. Because as a caster, we all love to see a support. We all love to see, let's say, any type of thing. But now, moving up ahead, AV gets one amazing elimination in his favor. Team AV is back and forth gaining some good blows. And right now, if I talk about this particular guy from Team AV, 6 amazing kills was there from that particular guy's corner. So definitely, it was absolutely amazing. If I talk about Team RS6, Phoenix is out of equation. Now it's all about Face. He's the last one standing. He's the only guy which is still surviving. The gun he's actually building is going to be P90, and along with that, Om is going to be another gun which he's actually using. So only 2 guns for this particular guy. Let's see how he's going to perform, how he's going to gain those amazing points in his favor or not. Definitely not an easy task for him, but yeah, that's what he's actually going to live up to. When you want to gain this kind of, let's say, championship in his favor, in your favor, so I believe fights are going to be quite tough for them. And that's what is actually going to happen. As well, you can see the fights are not looking that easy for him. Kando, Guto Boy, Fear, Chessman. 4-man power, now left with the 3-man power. Kando was out of equation. Zone is getting surreal. The 7 zone is about to be here. As well, you can see the save zone will shrink in just 39 seconds. And in those 39 seconds, the shift is going to be there for sure. Another knockout comes in. Look at those beautiful shots being exchanged. Another takedown is there right now. Just 3 squads are remaining, if I'm not wrong. And Team BH constantly is trying their level best to pass themselves. Morgan is out of equation. Now Caldi is becoming the last man standing of his particular team. He's the only ray of hope for the team. If we talk about team AB, once again, this could be another booyah. This could be the back-to-back second booyah for this particular team. AB Radicals is just on par for the moment. The way they are gaining some points is absolutely amazing. What an amazing performance for the opponent. All right, once again, a knockout comes in. Checks man was able to take him down. Redomes has been taken down. That's interesting. Some shots being exchanged, as you can see. A lot of shots have been traded off, but definitely that's not enough to put them down. Just man managed to get one amazing finish into his perspective. Right now, the fight is turning quite bad for this particular team. That is honestly maybe Radicals in the previous few matches. They were able to gain some good goals, but in this match, I believe the situation is actually turning quite south for them. The shot being revealed, as you can see, that charge buster was able to help him a lot. Apart from that, that hand cannon was absolutely creating a ruckus in the fight. 3 players are surviving, out of which if I'm not wrong, this man is going to be the last man standing, and definitely he is going to be last man. And with that, a booyah comes in for Team AB. Once again, AB Radicals gets another booyah. That's interesting. Team AB is back and forth coming up with some amazing goals. It's interesting to watch out. What an amazing performance coming from AB's corner. Love the way this whole consistency is coming up. I just want to know the confirmation at which map is about to be there the next match, which is going to be the next match. If we get to know which map is going to be the next one. Okay, so yeah, Alpine is going to be the next match. I just got the confirmation from the back end. So as you all know, guys, Alpine, another beautiful region. Let me tell you about some, let's say, fruitful places where you actually love to drop in. Alpine could be full of surprises as well, because that is something which people usually don't play in Indian region, in Nepali region, in Bangladeshi region, in Indonesian region as well. We didn't saw this particular map being played. I think if I'm not wrong, Snowfall is going to be one of those beautiful places to jump in. Along with that, it's going to be Garrison, it's going to be Railroad also getting connected. Carousel is going to be there, Dock is going to be there, Sunside is going to be there, Base Camp is going to be there, Rye is going to be there, Vantage is going to be there, Stadium is there, Rivermouth is there, Blueville is there, Fusion is going to be there, Ocean View is going to be there, Forest Dread along with Militia is going to be there. So a lot of amazing places are going to be there in that particular map, but Alpine is going to be full of surprises, is going to be full of joys. So I think so. Back to back getting 2 good booyahs from AV's corner is absolutely amazing. But right now, I'm more than concerned about the next match to come in, because that next match can actually turn a new story, can actually tell that how these whole situation will be turning out. Will there be some other team which is going to dominate in the Filipino region, or is it going to be same teams dominating? Teams like S2G will be dominating, or is it going to be Team AV, or is it going to be Team Bloodyhead, or is it going to be teams like, let's say, let's talk about GM as well, QR as well, QR, yeah. That's absolutely one of those amazing teams which was unable to gain some good points. So that could be another beautiful team which is going to gain some good, amazing points. So that fortunately can be very, very amazing to watch out. So let's expect that fight to come in. We'll be seeing very, very soon that how the fights are actually going to get delivered. Apart from that, let's actually do a little bit more research that which are those amazing places where people actually love to jump in the map of Alpine. Where can be the advantage point of view? If the players, coaches are actually seeing the streams, I guess they can actually get the benefit of the doubt. That way you should actually jump in, and which are the top 5 best places to jump in. So let's do a little bit of research, and I've actually done the research. So let's talk about that. Snowfall can be one of those amazing places where you want to jump in. As you can see from the name itself, this area is always covered with the snow clad, but is equally enriched with houses containing a lot of loot. So obviously, guys, you're going to get a lot of loots as well. Despite of actually enjoying the snow, you have to actually focus on loot as well, because you all know it's summertime. Actually, this is September. This end of September is about to come in, but still, too much heat, man. What to do? However, this place also has a high chances of fight because of its high loot availability. So, guys, for the rushers, it's going to be a blessing in disguise. The people who love to rush. But right now, apart from being a rusher, you have to actually focus on this thing as well, that you have to gain some good points in terms of survival, in terms of availability of the loots, in terms of your team support. So obviously, something like that is actually going to be quite critical. But in just 30 seconds, we are going to witness the next fight to come in. But apart from that, let me tell you one of those amazing places as well where teams actually love to jump in. Militia is going to be another beautiful place. This area is basically a military area with loot dropped in an open area and also in the indoors. That means you have the open regions as well. Apart from that, you are also going to get some closed compounds as well where you can actually jump in and loot in the militia region. This place has a good quantity of loot for the mid-game zone. However, to some players, disappointment advantage is going to be there. That is something which is going to be quite fruitful for the enemy which is on the receiving side of the bullets. But if we talk about the enemy which is trying to figure out and get some good blows, While Malaysia is not the right place where you actually want to drop in, because that doesn't contain the right ridges or right height advantages to be precise. Now, if I talk about the another beautiful area where in the map of Alpine people love to jump in, is going to be Docks region. But before that, let's talk about the flight path. As you all can see, the flight path is starting from Fusion region, and it is actually going towards Railroad. That's interesting. Now let's talk about some of these places where the files are actually going to be there, and eventually the connections will be getting delivered. Well, we already talked about Malaysia. Let's explore it a little bit more. So this area also has a high chance to fight, but not in the starting, but in the mid game or in the game. So guys, remember, in the starting zone, Malaysia is not some of those places where people love to jump in, but in the end game or the mid zones, these fights are actually for sure going to be there. Malaysia area has only one vending machine in the center and has limited cover houses with 2 zip lines for escaping from this area. Well, that is something which is quite critical. I already told you about the facts. Now let's see what happens eventually after the game gets over. We'll be seeing very soon that how the connectivities are actually going to get delivered, done and dusted or not. If we talk about more and more regions, as you can see, this is actually going to be that research area where the people are actually trying to just loot it up. This could be the base camp area. So let's see what eventually happens. We have got DRVs, Jazzy is there, Shots is there, Pairs is there, Jans is going to be there, the 4 manpower is still residing, 40 players are still residing in this paper, and FX is still getting some good blows. AV, if I talk about this particular team, let's see how they're going to perform. Team FX is already getting aggressive. As you can see, Aguila gets one amazing kill in his first attempt. Apart from that, some more shots have been exchanged. Look at that beautiful knockout coming up just like that. A knockout comes in just like that. And the fish for this team has been hunted. That's interesting. What an amazing gun game, guys. They are hunting the souls down. They are taking the people apart. They are actually pulling through a lot of hogs. Well, let's see what eventually happens, guys. Moving up ahead, Team FX is already showing their kind of, let's say, aggression. Aguila with 2 amazing kills, and if I'm not wrong, the other guy is also having 1 more amazing kill. Apart from that, okay, what was that? ABCD once again, an amazing headshot coming up, and just like that, the third finish is already getting welcome. What an amazing showcase of his stance. Wow, man, that's absolutely amazing. The way he's performing is absolutely loco. Moving up ahead, if we talk about Gosu, Aguila, she isn't too easy. These are the few members which are still surviving as well. You can see the slider is also there. They can easily actually pull through their punches, but Aguila is also getting connected with some good blows. Aguila tries to just decipher. Aguila tries to actually give those blows as well. As you can see, the shots might actually come in soon enough, and there we go. The shots are being connected. Okay, another knockout. The triple take is actually coming up, and just like that, the fights are turning down quite swiftly. This team, particularly Team FX, is actually having close to 4 or 5 finishes, I believe. At this moment, 4 or 5 kills has already been delivered in their favor. That's interesting. If I talk about Team Ego, they're also performing equally well. One amazing team, QR, has been taken down. Now, if I talk about Team AXT, Kando, Go to Boy, Fear, and Just Man are going to relieve to the particular fight. You guys remember, this is the only team which was surviving against the other enemy. So let's see what happens eventually, guys. Will they be able to survive a bit more or not? That is something which is going to be quite crucial. Kando, Go to Boy, Fear, Chessman. 3-4 members still driving, still surviving, still trying to actually give the low-key fights in their favor, get the fights in their favor to be precise. WL, if I talk about this team, we've got Onnits, we have got Invoker in the scene, constantly trying their level best to gain some good points. Well, the result will be delivered soon enough. We'll be seeing that which team is going to get the points. This is day number 1, match number 7. The map is Alpine. Oh, another beautiful shot coming from Aguila's corner. Just like that, one more player has been taken down. Team FX is not about to stop anytime soon. And now the last man standing is going to be honest, to be precise. Now he's searching for these, should I say, small tokens. And after that, when he will be able to get the tokens, he's going to go to the vending machine so that he can res out and recall his teammates. But is it going to be a piece of cake? Not at all, my teammates. Not at all, my lovely audience. It's not going to be a piece of cake for them to just get out and get that recoil done and dusted, because obviously the enemy is also lurking in the shadow. They don't want that enemy which they have diminished, which they have actually taken down quite swiftly, to come back in the fight like a nightmare and just like that obstruct them. So that is something which is going to be quite critical. Let's see what eventually happens. It's day number 1, match number 7. Alpine is the map. We are still trying to learn, trying to figure out what will happen and how the fight will be getting delivered. Bosu, Aguila, Shears, and the other members are still surviving. We have got Ego, MJ, Ft.Av, Ron is going to be there. Soria is also going to be there. Definitely, they're actually trying to pull through punches. 40 players were there in this particular match. Right now, we are just remaining with 29. I guess some players are still waiting for that revival to come in. So when the recall and the revival is actually there, I guess they will be able to come here, and with the backlash, they might be able to gain some good points. That would be quite amazing to watch out. MJ, Ft.Av, Adrian, Soria. Few members still trying to gain some good blows. Few members still trying to actually attack and get some good points into their favor. Let's see what eventually happens and how they're going to pull through the punches. For the moment, I guess we have to just wait. We have to see what will happen and how the fights are going to get delivered. So waiting is actually going to be there quite amazing to watch, because patience is something which we have to actually live with and relish it. Void Face still surviving, Morgana still surviving, Josh still surviving. They're still waiting for the right impact to come in. Let's see what eventually happens. As you can see, the connectivity and the fights are for sure going to get delivered. As you can see, the gun game is actually going to be quite crucial. For sure, these teams are actually going to get ahead and get some good picks in their favor. So let's see what eventually happens, guys. Let's see how the blows, to be precise, are actually going to get delivered. Is it going to be an easy task? Well, definitely not. But we'll be seeing very, very soon. Well, if we talk about Team AV Radicals, as you can see, Rutwitch was already receiving quite a few damages. He's one of those players who's trying to survive. Bine is also receiving quite a few damages. On the front end, I guess Team AV might not be able to survive. Oh, the Quibbles are coming up, the nades are coming up. Chrono Shield has been appointed, but still, it's not going to help him out. Retux now is actually going to the last man standing. He's the only ray of sunshine, only ray of hope for this particular team. And yes, of course, he is bringing back Tanamo. That's interesting. Retux on the other corner is also indulged in a fight. Definitely not going to be any task for them to actually take over and get those goals, but he is trying his level best to axe him out. He was able to retain. Oh, 1v2 coming from the space corner. What an amazing showdown. But now is it going to be a possibility where he's going to turn the task and take that 1v3? Definitely not. The 1v3 is not going to come in. Now Tanamo remains the last man standing. He is definitely trying his level best to go ahead and survive a bit more so that he can actually come back with some more punches. And that punches can be very critical. That aggression can be very, very amazing to watch out. Connections and the gun game is already done and dusted. We're talking about Bonito. They are also surviving. CS is actually there. Phoenix is there. We've got Ace on the scene. Definitely a lot of point system is actually going to get uprooted for sure. Now moving up ahead, if we talk about these particular teammates, 29 is the number of points that is actually going to be there. 30 points is also there in their favor right now. Let's see what happens. If I will get to see the live standing, I would love to see that where the people are standing for the moment in terms of live standing in the leaderboard, to be precise. So leaderboard can actually showcase like a report card that how these people are performing. As far as I'm concerned, AV is one of those lovely teams which is easily going to get that #1 position today, and they're going to retain that tower because the way they performed in the last few matches is absolutely amazing. But moving up ahead, as far as the fights are concerned, this is going to be the last match for the day. Day number 1, match number 7, Alpine. This is the match that you are witnessing for now. And as we talked about some beautiful places, Militia was one of them. As I talked about the pros and cons of this particular map, Snipers are something which is not going to get blessed with this particular map, with this particular place, to be precise, because this is not one of those places where we are easily going to get a lot of height advantage and stuff like that. So if we talk about the best strategies of the military area, snipers. If you want to become a sniper, that can be absolutely cherishable, because as there is only one vending machine in the militia camping in the middle can be risky and beneficial at the same time. So obviously, guys, it can be very risky because you can be taken down quite safely. But then again, if you're a sniper, if you know how to use long range weapons like, let's say, OM, 98K, BSS, M24 and stuff like that, you can easily become one of those chaotic player. And as enemies will be coming for the loot and reviving, which can help in squad vibes. So obviously, guys, you can definitely get some good blows here. Snipers will not need any support or scouting teammates, as they can easily see the whole area from center. So that is the best pros of this particular region, that is known as militia. Militia is spot everything. But right now, a fight is coming up. Chrono Shield was appointed, but then again, definitely it's not going to be a piece of cake for them to run down the right. Some blue walls have been appointed, some shots have been taken. The M10 is one of those amazing turns that can be very, very to watch out. But there we go, another knockout comes in, and just like that, they are back in the game. They are performing equally well. They are getting the stuffs done and dusted. But from the back end, some more shots have been exchanged. BSS is something this guy is actually using. MCGO Magdo is actually trying to gain some good points. But is it going to be an easy task? Not at all, I think so. But let's see how the game goes on. Garrison is way too close, but Garrison is outside the play zone, so that definitely won't help him a lot, or let's say help the teammates or the enemy a lot in terms of their point system. So it is going to be quite critical to watch out that how the game is actually going to go on. Let's figure out, guys, what happens and how the fights are actually going to get delivered or not. Well, there we go. As per the live standings, Team AB is the only team which is still crossing the century. First
Double
century.
kill.
119 points.
Triple
That's
kill.
interesting. If I talk about this particular team, AMXT team is actually gaining back and forth. Quite an amazing points. What an amazing performance coming from the corner. If I talk about S2G, 93 points from the corner. BH is actually getting 70 points in their favor. FX is having 69 points. Quite a few people are going to love this score, 69. On the other corner, if I talk about SAF, 58 points from their corner. Ego is having 57. QR is having 56. AXT is having 53. And apart from that, WL is having 49. DRB is actually having 37 points. RXS is having 36 points. FNO is having 22 points. So these are the points system which we are actually looking up to. So moving up ahead, we might see more and more clashes coming up really soon. That can be very amazing to watch out. FX still surviving, still thriving to the blues. Alpine, a map where the people are falling short quite swiftly. As you can see, a lot of bloodshed has been seen. A lot of people have been taken down, but right now Team PH, or should I say Bloodyhead, if I'm not wrong, the team which is going to get blessed with the shots. Oh, just like that, the team has been taken down. And the team which is overpowering is going to be Team AXT. What a performance coming from AXT's corner. The way they are compensating the fights is mesmerizing. They're getting some good points. Chrono Shield has been appointed, and that's how he's going to survive a bit more. But SAF, Zedope, and Hawkeye, both of them have been taken down. It's all about McCreary and the other guy, McDoy. These are the two good members of this particular team which are going to survive and eventually gain some good points. This is going to be a piece of cake, not at all. Look at those shots being exchanged, but finally he was able to play it off and get a beautiful knockout. That's interesting. Knockout are still coming up. Team SAF is still surviving. They are still back in the game. They're still showing their kind of spirit. And these spirits, these fights, these aggression definitely might actually help them a lot. Some more shots have been appointed, as you can see. Definitely a lot of shots are being developed. Alrighty, already. As you can see, people are getting excited up, but McCrawley also gets taken down. Interesting. The frags are still coming. The people are still trying to survive. If I talk about Go to Boy, he's back in the game as well. You can see with the sliders. Treatment pistol. Apart from that, Bison is going to be there in his backpack, if I'm not wrong. But that treatment pistol definitely can help him, his teammates a lot in terms of their patching. And there we go. The heal set and understood. Treatment pistol is actually a blessing in disguise, and your teammate can easily shoot you down with the treatment pistol, and meanwhile they're shooting, they're repatching you. So that can be very, very fruitful in terms of the fights. AV still remains on top, as you can see. If I talk about Team FNO, I'm actually a bit more skeptical about their performance and their positioning in the leaderboard, because right now, if I'm not wrong, Team FNO is still having just 22 points. That's all they have actually attained. Many teams are there which are gaining 22 points in a single match, but meanwhile, if we talk about this particular team known as FNO, altogether in all the 6 matches right now, they are able to get only this much point into their favor, which is not a great sight to watch. But moving up ahead, I believe in the next few matches, situation might actually change. The next few days, to be precise, situation might actually change, because this is going to be the last match for the day. So not a lot of scope of development, not a lot of scope of improvement for today. But as far as the next few days, I guess improvement might be there. SAF is back in the game, back in the action, and this guy, McDoy, with 5 amazing eliminations, 5 amazing kills. This guy is on another level. He's way too aggressive, getting some good points, but is it going to help him or not? That is something we have to actually get our eyes set on. Go to Boy still resigning. Another shot comes in. M187 is going to be the gun that this guy is particularly using. Chessman is also surviving on the back end. We have got Kando, we have got Dubai trying to perform. Gonito on the other corner manages to get some good blows of his own as well. Only 1 kill from his corner. And that is definitely going to embark a new spirit in this guy's mind, that I want to gain some more finishes as well. But he's actually looking like a support system for this particular team. Rather than being aggressive, he's actually becoming the support pillar for the team, so that his team can be aggressive, his team can collect some good points. Meanwhile, he can actually assist the team to get some amazing blows as well. Phoenix on the other corner is actually on the back end, on the back entrance of this particular small shack region, so that if anybody tries to jump in, they will be able to take them apart. 9 people are surviving, guys. 3 eliminations coming from this particular guy's corner. Just 9 people are surviving. I guess I'm just waiting for the right fight to come in. There we go. A fight comes in. AXT is getting plus. AXT is getting plus down. God 2 Boy is actually going to be the guy who is actually going to go down to dust. Kando, here, Chessman. 3-4 members are still surviving. Right now, let's see how the performance gets on. Nobody's chatting right now, guys. Please make sure to chat, and please make sure to actually share your opinions on this whole particular streaming and casting as well. Apart from the gameplay as well, make sure to support your favorite teams, favorite players as well. There can be many favorite players of your team as well. Here is there, Kando is there. Little bit on the verge of the particular placement, but right now they have to push in so that they can collect some more points. Let's see what happens, guys. 5 amazing kills from Chessman's corner. No stopping from this corner, guys. Either they have to do it or they are going to die for it. So do or die is the situation which is going to be there, correctly said and done. But right now, Chessman still trying to figure out what will happen. SKS is the gun that this guy is actually holding and wielding, to be precise, at this moment. But let's see what will happen. Eventually, will they be able to gain those points or not? That is something which is going to be quite amazing to watch out. This is, guys, LEC 2022. That means Lidoma Asia Cup 2022. Make sure to support your favorite teams, guys. Groza, okay, one of those favorite weapons from my corners. Groza has been summoned. This can easily land you out from the equation. 8 people are surviving. I guess 2 or 3 squads are going to survive. If it's a 4v4 type of fight, that can be very lovely to watch. But let's see what eventually happens. Is it going to be a 4v4 type of fight or not? And meanwhile, I also want to know from the production that we will be going to get the leaderboard on the live stream, or is it going to get on the Instagram handle? Let's know about that as well. Okay, guys, on the live stream, you are going to get every single thing, like let's say the points table and how many points and which team is on top in the day 1's qualifier. You are going to get every single thing, so make sure to be ready about that aspect as well. Apart from your calculations, we are actually going to bring you the right info about the teams that are going to get qualified, and actually which are going to be close enough to get qualified. But another shot comes in, another takedown is coming up. 7 people are still surviving. A lot of players have been taken down from AXT's corner. Last man standing from Team AXT is going to be Tango. He's trying his level best. The pentacle comes in from his corner. That's interesting. Another shot comes in. Oh, another wicked 6 shot comes in, and just like that, the Booyah is in hands of Team. Oh, wow. This particular team, AXT, known as Dream, was able to get this amazing Booyah in their favor. Man, oh man, what an amazing performance coming from AXT's corner. I just love the way this performance went out. AXT with this amazing Booyah is for sure going to bump their position as well in the leaderboard. But right now, guys, 7 matches went by. First was Bermuda. QR actually came with the beautiful Booyah in that particular fight. After that, I believe S2G was the team which actually gained the Booyah in the consideration. The second one, that was Purgatory. Kalahari was in the hands of some other team. That was Bloodyhead, if I'm not wrong. And apart from that, I guess 4th and 5th matches were there in the hands of Team AV Radicals to be precise. And after that, some other team gained the Booyah. And after that, the last match was in the hands of another beautiful team known as AXT. What an amazing performance coming from the particular corner. The way they performed, the way they gained those points was absolutely amazing. I didn't expect that kind of carnage coming up, but in a swift moment, they were able to gain this particular point in their favor. What an amazing showdown, guys. Love the way the performance went out, for sure. So now I'm just waiting for the leaderboard to come in. Once the leaderboard will be delivered, I guess we are going to witness the teams which are at the top, the teams which are at the bottom, and the teams which are at the middle. That whole scenario will be crystal clear for us, and that could actually show us that what will happen in the next few days. That could actually show us how these teams are going to revolutionize themselves and eventually gain some good points in their favor or not. Because as far as I'm concerned, I want to see these teams coming back and forth in their consideration. But right now, only top 3 teams are going to get qualified for the next phase. So being in the top 3 is not going to be a piece of cake for these teams which are at the bottom. Like, let's say if we talk about FNO top speed, because these teams are having just 22 points in the few 6 matches that we actually watched. I don't know what the score is actually going to be there after the 7th one, but we are going to get that idea very soon. Let's say soon we are going to get that particular idea. But who AV, okay, there is a support for AV as well, but we all know that AV wasn't able to get that Booyah in this last match. But right now, if I'm not wrong, AV is going to be the only team which is going to cross that triple-digit marker, or should I say a century is there already in the covers. And apart from that, S2Gs can be another beautiful team which might be able to touch that triple-digit in their favor. We'll be seeing it very soon in the leaderboard, that what was happening and how the impact was actually done and dusted. But right now, we all saw 2 good maps of Bermuda, 2 good maps of Purgatory, 2 good maps of Kalahari as well. If 2 good maps of Alpine would have been there, I guess the situation would have been different. Alviate decided to have 8 matches, but I guess due to some time constriction and stuff, we are having only 7 matches for the day. And in these 7 matches, we saw some of those amazing gems rising to the charm, amazing gems gaining some good points. Apart from Team AV Radicals to be precise, I love the way Team XT performs. I love the way teams like Hard to Get performed. I love the way Team WL performed in some games. And eventually Team War FX was able to also get some good points as well. In some matches, if I'm not wrong, 2AC was able to gain 8 to 9 amazing kills as a solo player. So that's actually, let's say, kind of a dignity type of thing for that particular guy. The way he performed, the way he gained some good points was absolutely amazing. Right now, just waiting for the next moment, just waiting for the leaderboard to come in, just waiting to sum up the day with the smile for teams like AV Radicals, hard to get, or WL Berserkers. I don't know which team is going to be on top, but right now, I think somewhere around I have got the chills for Team AV Radicals. I want to see how much point they have actually maintained in terms of their lead. Yeah, I know they are going to be on top. That is something which is going to be pretty sure about. But then again, how much lead is there? Being on top is not going to be an easy task for them, and you have to have some kind of lead in their favor. I'm just going to get the estimate really very soon that how many points AV Radicals have made altogether in the 7 matches, and how much more of a lead is actually there right now. So these are the few things which can easily help us a lot in terms of performance. So we'll be seeing very very soon that how this runs out. But right now, as well, this is overall standing, and AV Radicals is still on top with 128 points. That's massive. 71 kill points, 57 position points, and a total of 3 booyahs in their favor, and a total of 7 matches, if I'm not wrong. That is something which has been quite hard to get. Is still remaining at a second position with only 93 points. FX with 86 points with 0 booyahs. That's interesting. FX wasn't able to get any booyahs, but still they are having this third position. That's amazing to watch out. E9 Esports with only 83 points with only 1 booyah. Bloodyhead with 79 points. SAFWNX with 78 points. Would love to see the second page of this whole story, that where the teams are lurking from #7 to #12. If the production will actually shift it, we'll be witnessing, and there we go. The call is coming up. Ego with 60 points with 0 booyahs. Quick reaction. Despite of having one beautiful booyah in their favor, this team is still lurking in the second page and #7, #8. Well, that's not great to watch. 57 points from their corner. WL Berserkers with 54 of their own. Rebellion Squad with 50. URV, okay, DRV, or that's ORV, I don't know, I'm confused about the name. ORV Tyrants with 40 points. FNO Top Speed, or 2 Speed to be precise, with 22 points as well. That team was unable to get any point, not even a single point in the last match. Now, this is how the day actually went by. This is how the fight actually went by. I love the way this whole situation was carried away. 7 beautiful matches from Philippines qualifier. Every single match was quite carnageous, quite amazing one. But right now, I guess with this, we can sum up the day. With this, we can take up farewell, and we'll be seeing you very soon in the next one, in the next event, in the next qualifier of some other region of Asia Cup.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their girls with their nails done now.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.